Vice Mayor Jarman.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Casto.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Coburn.
Yes.
Councilman Register.
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Teddemer.
Yes, ma'am. Next up is the invocation by Dr. Steve Taylor from Emerald Coast Fellowship.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we're grateful to be able to start this day and this time by asking your help, your wisdom, and your encouragement. We're grateful for the blessing and privilege to live in, well, in my opinion, the most beautiful place on the planet. And so we're grateful for that. We're thankful for the beautiful weather. We ask for your wisdom in this meeting, both by those that are present, those that are presiding. We pray your continued blessing in our community. We are grateful for where you have brought us from, how you have been a blessing through difficult places and storms through the years. And we look forward to how you will continue to work in the lives of each of us to shape us that way. I know that there are real issues on the table. There are things that people feel strongly about, and we pray that you'd be honored in how business is conducted here today and with the ultimately with the decisions that are made. We trust you, Father. We're grateful again. We ask for your blessing in Christ's name. Amen.
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 Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next is item D, community announcements. On Monday, May 27th, Memorial Day, the city offices are closed. Also on Monday, May 27th at 9:45 a.m. at Aaron Bessett Park at the Veterans Memorial, there will be a Memorial Day ceremony. May 30th through June 2nd at the Frank Brown Festival Park is Gulf Coast Jam. June 1st, 15th, and 29th at the City Pier is Bayou Beach Volleyball Tournament. Thursday, June 6th at 7 p.m., Aaron Bessett Park, we have the opening night of the Summer Concert Series. On Thursday, June 13th at 6 p.m. at City Hall is the next City Council meeting. And finally, Wednesday, June 19th, city offices are closed for the Juneteenth holiday. Next is the approval of the meeting minutes. Ms. Fazzoni?
May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Vice Mayor Jarman.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Casto.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Coburn.
Yes.
Councilman Register.
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Teddemer.
Yes, ma'am. Moving on to the approval of agenda. Any additions or deletions?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make an addition. I'd like to have a discussion about municipal impact fees.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, at the will of the council, I'd like to move item number 10 on the regular to the June 13th meeting. I'd like to try to get more applicants for our audit committee and to give you guys some more time to look at the applicants that have already come in. With your permission, I'd like to move item number 10 off the regular agenda and move it to the June 13th meeting to try to get more applicants for the audit committee, and we also have the airport authority coming up at the same time.
Okay. Thank you. I would like to move number 9 up to the front. That's the discussion of the skate park, so we can get that discussion out here first. And it seems there's one or two people here in the crowd who may be interested in that, so let's take care of that right away. Anything else? Any motion?
Motion.
Can I ask one question?
Oh.
Where would you like the discussion item at the end?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
That's it.
Okay.
So
Motion.
moved.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Fazzoni?
Councilman Jarman.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Casto.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Coburn.
Yes.
Councilman Register.
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Teddemer.
Yes, ma'am. Next are our presentations. The first is the Employees of the Year's Service Awards. Vice Mayor Jarman.
Thank you.
Will Christopher Fritz please come on up here? Good morning. Thanks for being here. Chris is with our Utilities Department. And on behalf of the City Council and the city, I'd like to congratulate you on 5 years of service with the city.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mark, would you like, hey, Chris, would you like to say anything?
Yeah, Chris may be celebrating 5 years with us, but he's actually been a water superintendent over at Bay County prior to us taking away from Bay County. Apologies to them. Anyway, he's our superintendent. He's the guy that monitors our potable water system, our pumping stations and storage tanks. So he's got a very important role here in serving the city and all of our franchise area. Thank you for what you do, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Next, we're going to have a presentation of tornado sirens and community alerting update by Chief Morgan.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. It's nice to see that everybody was so interested in tornado sirens they showed up today, just for this. So I appreciate it. So let's get into it. As you guys know, we've had a lot of discussion recently pop back up with the weather that we've had. It almost seems like we just don't get rain anymore. Everything's severe weather, right? So we'll kind of talk about it. So in this short presentation, we're going to talk about, obviously, the community warning systems. We're going to talk about some about what we already have in place. And then there's just some information put in the slides that you can reference in future, you know, if you want to go back and take a look at it. So on the right is some categories of how we rank storms for the National Weather Service. And these are the things that we're going to be talking about. So the pathways of alerting, types of alerting, coverage maps. We'll get not too specific in the financial impacts and moving forward what we want to do. So the alerting pathways are pretty standard. So you got different components, you know, that come from server down to the client, out to the actual infrastructure itself. So it can be set up where we can activate it locally, meaning here on our own island, or we can have it activated by a remote term like EOC and or some say the National Weather Service will do it, depending upon what company you talk to. You talk to them, they're really not in favor of that. But so that's a discussion point that may be changing in the future. So when you talk about sirens, we've got two different types. We've got electric, and then we've got electromechanical or mechanical. Mechanical is pretty much the old school type that we all grew up with. I grew up in Arkansas, had one of these right down the road from me. We're big tornado alley people, so I learned about them from a young age. So these are activated. They have an electric motor inside of them, compresses the air, chops the air, and sends it out through different veins, and gives you the siren tone. It'll only give you a tone. There's different types of tones that you can get for different types of alerts. But these are your most cost-effective option for alerting the community. But it is limited because it just gives you a tone. And everybody wonders, what does that tone mean? Do we have a tornado? Do we have a hurricane? Do we have a hazmat event? Do we have a man-made event? So limited in that fact, but cost-effective. So construction, I know there's been some talk about maintenance and longevity of the system. So in talking with a lot of these vendors that I have over the last 2 weeks, they really stepped up their game when it comes to corrosion preventativeness, aluminum construction on a lot, stainless steel construction on a lot. So they really come a long ways in the maintenance aspect. Electric sirens are kind of the way of the future. So these typically a little more expensive because of the nature and their abilities that they have. They usually have a little more of a maintenance cost factor with them. But again, they've come a long ways, especially in a coastal environment. They waterproofed them well and really been focusing on that. What I like about an electric siren, not only will it give you a tone, but a lot of these will give you the ability to play a pre-recorded message to follow that tone so you get some kind of identification of what the warning is. And then some even have the aspect to do live public announcements. So in certain venues, that could be a bonus. Then we talk about mounting. So if we were to get all these sirens, how are we going to mount them? Obviously, the cheapest way to mount them is on wood poles, like you see there on your left. And and then we have spun concrete, and then building. So if we're going to cover the city, that's something we're going to need to look at if you guys decide to go that route. If we're going to put them on different condos, that means, agreements with condo owners and/or land acquisition that I don't really know what that landscape looks like at this moment, just depending on where you guys want to go with it. So like I talked about with community alerting, you'll see in a couple of pictures, these are actually a couple of storms that we had hit, one on the west end and then one recently on the east end. So the way these things set up, especially with the electromagnetical, a lot of these can be just directly activated by NOAA and/or, according to one vendor, straight from the Weather Service or EOC or locally. So by RF radio frequency.
What's EOC for everyone?
So Emergency Operations Center there with the county. So a lot of these come straight over radio frequency. Some have the ability to be activated right over your cell phone. So there's a lot of different ways depending upon the financial impact or how much you guys want to spend, if you decide to spend, different ways that we can alert. So when it comes to coverage area for the city, this is where it gets tricky. So this particular study that was done for us, you'll see the city limits outlined in red. With this particular siren, they're looking at 6 sirens to cover the city. As you can see, it goes outside of our city limits. I don't know if that is a concern for you guys. That's something for you to take into account. But obviously, it won't just be us that gets alerted, which, the more people we can alert, the better. But there is a cooperation that we have there that goes on. Another study that was done for us, similar in nature, 6 sirens. This one actually shows you the decibel levels and how quickly it disperses as it gets out. I recently got another map that was given to me yesterday that had adequate coverage for the city with 8 sirens. So it really depends on siren size and just manufacturer. So what are we looking at, financially? So I received a lot of just general quotes because I really don't know where we're going with this or where you guys would like to go with this. But we're looking at, bottom line, around $240,000 to $250,000 for 6 sirens, and that's just for the system. That doesn't include any kind of land acquisition, any kind of lease agreement with property that's not ours. So that cost can skyrocket, as you know. Then we're talking about, obviously, the better the system, the more sirens we have. So if you could drill it down to where you just look at a heat map and cover high-density areas, but then you're not covering the whole city and not everybody's getting warned. There's implications with that as well. So as we move forward with this, you got an IT support component of it. If we do start with a very minimal system, are we going to put some kind of long-term plan in there for scaling it as the city grows and the population grows? There will be need to budget for maintenance and repair of the system. Some of these systems, they're just, by nature, they're going to need some repair. It's not going to be extensive, but they're going to need something throughout the years. And then, of course, like I say, lease agreements, land purchases, public-private partnerships, all are probably options, but it's something to consider. So to kind of recap, we also talked about weather radios. I know the mayor had brought that up in the past. So weather radios actually have come a long ways. Something the new radios have are specific area message encoding, this same. So if you get a radio that's like shown there on your left, all right, so that's a Midland radio. They actually have them at Walmart. They're $45 a piece. And you can set that with that code, the specific area message encoding, with a specific code that just covers your area. So if you don't want to get alerts for all the surrounding counties and want to drill down your area, you have a specific code for that. So, and this is the frequencies, different counties, the different codes that you can enter into that radio, and it'll give you the alerts. So you'll see if you pick Bay County, that's the coverage area you get. Actually goes outside of Bay County a little bit, but they do a good job. I went to Walmart. They had about 17 of these radios. Some of them were as cheap as $21, and they have battery backup. So I would encourage anybody to have one of these. If you're in home at night, this is just a redundant tool to make sure you get warned of a weather emergency. Also, I talked last time a little bit about Alert Bay. As you guys know, with the weather we've had recently, there's been a lot of alert bays that go out. So this is a great tool. We highly recommend it. I encourage anybody to go to Alert Bay and sign up for this. This you do have to sign up for. Again, you get to pick what areas that you want to be notified and the types of notifications that you want to sign up for. So please check that out. So then we have what we call wireless emergency alerts. So the National Weather Service the first one to go out was in 2012 in California for a flooding event that they had out there. So in everybody's cell phone, be it Android or iPhone, all new cell phones come with this ability that given wherever you're at in the country, a weather alert goes out, it gets pushed over your phone, whether your phone has the ringer off, whether the phone is turned down on silent, it activates directly to your area. So you can turn this off. Some of the older phones, you had to turn it on. And I'm not a huge tech guy, but this is what I've learned. So if you have an Android system, starting on your left, you go to settings on your main page, and then you click down to notifications. When you get to notifications for an Android, you go all the way to the bottom and click on advanced settings. Under advanced settings, you see the wireless emergency alerts at the bottom. Once you click that, you can turn on your alerts or turn off the alerts and then pick whatever alert that you want. If it's an iPhone, when you get to the second page to the bottom, and instead of saying advanced settings, it says government alerts. When you click on that, it gives you the option for weather alerts and then the same. You get to turn it on, turn it off, pick whatever alerting style that you want. Just kind of as a refresher for everybody that carries phones with us. And then we got apps. So this is a particular iPhone that did some screenshots on multiple weather apps. Another great area to get alerted from. Redundancy in our program. So again, location services, privacy sector. So these apps are only as good as your location, right? So we want to make sure that those locations are turned on. In this particular one, once we went to privacy sector, we scrolled down to our middle picture down to weather app. And then under that, you get to pick your location access. So whether you use it all the time, just when the app is open. And then in an iPhone, it gives you the ability to give precise location, which really drills down your location and only going to alert you if you're in the danger area. So moving forward, what do we want as a city? Do we want a system at all to be redundant and alerting our public? Do we want a mechanical system? Do we want something a little more drilled down and advanced, like an electrical system where we can put out public notifications? Or do we want to beef up what's already there? You know, with weather radios, there's grants out there that we can apply for that cover a lot of this stuff. Those grant timelines are 1 to 2 years before they come to fruition. So these are just a few of the questions that I put together to think about as we move forward.
Chief, how many other cities in Florida have these sirens?
Not many. So I know the most prominent one is Oviedo. They have them. I talked to the chief there. They have used them. They're an older style system. They've had it, quite a while.
And even if you're not on Alert Bay, if we have a tornado come in this area, the National Weather Service, everybody's phone's going to go off.
Yes, sir.
Right.
As long as those alerts are not turned off on your phone.
So
and that's why we
that's the new technology, in my
Right.
opinion. And the old technology was the sirens, which I think in another few decades, you won't see those probably anywhere.
Yeah, pretty much everything's transitioning to the electric style where you can broadcast messages. It's a crazy world we live in. So having the ability to not only give a tone, but to come back with it and give some information with it, I think it's important. So to be able to do that.
Yeah, I think it's nice to have multiple ways of being alerted on your phone, but then the phone becomes your single point of failure, which is why I personally like the weather radios. People turn their phones off, run out of battery. Sorry about that. They run out of battery. The weather radio is not going to text you at night because someone wanted to go get a pizza and they were really hungry, right? That one is just, now the issue with that, as we see from your presentation, is you're going to get everything from Bay County.
Yeah.
So if there's something in Callaway, you're going to hear about it. But if you want that kind of protection, opting into it, and maybe the city or some community partners here could help us get weather radios for folks who are really interested in it.
They can go buy their own at Walmart, what'd you say?
Yeah, they could buy their own.
Yeah, so
absolutely.
I checked Walmart here.
Or we can get some
last
grants.
week.
Yeah, I think some grants would be nice. I mean,
They're available now if anybody wants one.
Yeah,
What, $40?
Yeah, and it's cheap as 21, what I saw. That had the specific area messaging. So-
yeah, if you think about $500,000, that's about $20, $25 per resident. So, every resident could get a weather radio for that much. So, maybe if we could help some of the folks who are, need the financial help through these grants, that'd be nice. Maybe if we could get some news stations or other community partners to help us, that would be a great public service from them.
Yeah, and I think there's some options for that. I know I talked with our grant manager, and I think there's some things routes that we can apply for. Not guaranteed that we'll get, and there is a considerable timeline with that, but we'd be happy to explore that.
In your research and talking to these siren manufacturers, it's only if you're outside, right?
So they stressed that.
Okay.
They said this is for outdoor warning only. We cannot guarantee that people inside condos or inside homes will hear them. That's where the weather radio comes into play. That's where your own technology comes into play with the phones that you carry.
It's not going to wake you up out of bed in the middle of the night.
It may, but they won't guarantee it.
It won't guarantee it.
It's designed for outdoor warning. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay?
So do we want to make a direction as focus on the weather radios and come up with a plan with that?
Yeah, that would be my preference. Looking to see how we can do funding, both either through the grants, which will take a little while, or reaching out and encouraging the community to participate in that. Find a good option we can standardize on, and so also recommend that option to the citizens so we can have just one set of directions. I think it's also useful, your presentation here is great. I think it's also useful to put something on the city website for how to make sure, especially for folks.
The codes.
Yeah, for folks on the older phones, including, again, I mentioned this in previous meeting. While the Amber Alerts are essential, they do frequently come from out of the area. And so you can get alert fatigue for those. So we don't want people to turn everything off. We want them to
Correct.
still get you get frustrated and turn everything off. You still want them to get the severe weather
And alert
alerts.
fatigue's real. Man, in my business, I can't miss an alert, so I have them
Yeah.
set up for multiple areas. So when one alert goes off, I get like 10.
Yeah.
That's my job. So, and it takes some, like I say, you have to sign up for that. So weather radios are key. But I'll be happy to follow whatever direction that you guys want to push. So.
I think the mayor's direction, I think we have consensus on that.
Yeah, and with the weather radios, do you think we need to, is the plan do we want some criteria for subsidized weather radios? Do we want to come up with that?
Yeah, I would say we would want them to be able to be programmed for specific events.
Sure.
And specific areas.
Right, but as far as the city, are we talking about just an educational program or the city trying to provide weather radios?
I think the city can try and provide grants to get,
But I agree.
yeah,
I
with
think we
weather
should buy
radios.
Every citizen a weather
Well,
radio,
and then-
we can get them
Yeah.
for free through grants.
And that's why I said, we probably need to direct staff to spin up some criteria for someone to qualify to get it for free or subsidized.
And there may, not to cut you off, but there may be some specifics drilled into the grant itself.
Yeah,
For
Some
that.
of the grants
Right.
are.
I think
I'll need to
city,
research
any
that
city
and
resident,
bring something back to the city manager. on that.
any city resident that wants this, I would be fine with that.
Yeah.
Or one per household, really. I mean, any city resident.
That- So like you said, so we're talking, we're going to have to find $250,000.
Yes.
If there's no grants, $250,000 in general fund to supply weather radios?
Yeah, I don't think we need to do every household.
I think we need to just go with the grant only and get. what
Yeah,
we
grants,
need.
yeah.
And
All right, we'll see what we can get.
Yeah, let's see
Yeah,
what
how
we can
about-
get,
okay.
and let's see who will be willing to partner with us and go forward from there.
Great.
Yeah.
I got direction. Thank you.
Perfect.
Yes, I'd also like to see the instructions for setting up the phone on the website.
Yes.
Yeah.
pulled out of the presentation, because I don't know that people would go through the presentation looking for this. So make it really easy for them.
Individualized.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
can also add in the iPhone instructions as well for the wireless emergency alerts. I'll get with, and we'll get it on the city website.
Yeah, let's have a
Yeah,
page.
so
let's
the
have a-
two phones, and then also the programming code for the weather radio.
Yeah.
Done.
Perfect.
Thank you,
All right.
guys.
Thank you, Chief.
Awesome.
Great
Thank you.
presentation.
Great work.
Next up is the CRA quarterly update by Assistant CRA Program Manager Scott Passmore. Scott?
Good morning, Mayor and Council. Scott Passmore with the Cordino Group, Assistant Program Manager on behalf of the Community Redevelopment Agency. Here to give you your quarterly update on the status of the CRA projects and program. I've included in your packet a status update on all of the corridors within the Front Beach Road CRA. We'll continue to update this as we go forward, and we'll try to make sure that the city has a copy of this if they care to publish that for citizens. You can see the color coding. I won't go in great detail. The highlights are the segments I think that everybody's kind of focused on is 3, 4.1, 4.2, and 4.3. 3 is currently under construction. I'll give you an update on that. 4.1 is complete for design, waiting for final design on 4.2 for a combined bid project later this year, and segment 4.3 is in the land acquisition phase. So for Front Beach Road, 82% complete based on the last pay request in April 2024. So slow but steady progress, moving it forward. Picture on the right, upper right there, you can see the sheet pilings are finally driven at the Low Water Lake weir structure that we're modifying. And the bottom picture gives you an overall view of the traffic shifted to the new northbound lanes. So we have divided traffic on Arnold Road, and we're hoping to have that, at least that portion of the project, probably complete open to traffic later this year from the roundabout up to Back Beach Road. We opened the lanes to traffic in March. Median reconstruction on Arnold, including the directional turn lanes, was completed in early April. We have the Low Water Lake weir reconstruction ongoing. The recent severe weather has set us back. We've had some rain and recovery days due to flooding of the work site. I guess the good news there is that the overflow is working as designed to make sure that the lake doesn't back up, but it does flood us, and then we have to recover from that and continue construction. So it is definitely challenging work working between the Gulf of Mexico and an active lake that continues to dump water on us. Sidewalk driveway installation on the north side of Front Beach Road. I'm pleased to report that we paved last week. We will be striping that road, and I expect probably by the end of June we'll have the traffic shifted from low water down to the roundabout onto the new future westbound lanes, and we'll have two-way traffic there, and then we'll begin our construction on the south side of Front Beach. So trying to relieve the residents that have been experiencing ongoing construction. We'll be moving to affect new people, but I think that's good news because it's progress. Anytime we do a traffic shift, that's a good milestone.
Mr. Passmore, when do you think we'll be completely done with segment 3?
So I don't have a good estimate on that right now. We have a delay claim due to the issues of the low water box culvert that we're negotiating with the contractor. I believe probably in the spring of 2025, we would have substantial completion of the overall project. If everything goes well, we have a good rainy season, don't have any further weather effects. So that's the best I can tell you, but we do have active claims, so that is still an undetermined final finish date on that project. Until we settle that with the contractor, I can't give you the exact time frame.
Okay, thank you.
For Alf Coleman Road, that project is successfully moving forward. We're 65% complete as the end of April. We have a substantial completion date of late July for that project. It was 289 calendar days. We feel like we're going to make that substantial completion date. This includes safety and rehabilitation, including repaving, restriping the road, improved drainage between the two wetlands that are on either side of that corridor, sidewalks, and then lighting by the FDOT. We still have ongoing single-lane closures for paving. On the south part of the project, I know there's been some discussions out there about the project not functioning as it was designed. We are still under construction, so it won't fully function until it's complete. We've raised the road, as of a report I got this week, about a foot of the overall 18 inches on the south end of the corridor. So it should be improved. We're driving traffic on new pavement, as you can see from the photographs, but we still have the curbs and the sidewalks, and we still have to put the final finished layers on that project. At the end of the project, the road will be raised between 14 and 18 inches above its previous grade. The phasing of the work.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Sorry. Oh,
And so that means that the concerns about the manholes being substantially above grade.
Right, whenever we
addressed
construct a project, the manholes are placed at final grade and then they're ramped. And that's so that when we come back, we remove those ramps and we put that final finished surface of asphalt, including we do profile checks before we do the final surface to make sure we have proper cross slope, make sure we have the proper smoothness on the pavement. So the contractor does have the opportunity to make corrections in the subsurface layers prior to doing that final paving.
Great, thank you, sir.
And the final point I want to make is that the work has been done in phases, and that's primarily for resident and business access. Most notably, the Harrison's Walk subdivision does not have alternative access to any other roadway, and so we had to build in phases around that subdivision in order to maintain their access. Update on Powell Adams Road. Corridor limits are from Front Beach to Stingray Drive. We have design services advertised. We are working to negotiate a contract with an engineer to update those plans. We do have a set of plans. They need to be updated for bid. That project will be completed concurrent with the construction of 4.1 and 4.2, so they will end together. We're working with St. Joe on the Topgolf development. They have temporary improvements. They've elected not to participate in construction of the permanent improvements, so they will construct temporary improvements to serve their development, and then we will come in with the final project. So I'll give you an update as we get the engineering underway for that. Segment 4.1, low water to hills. We have right-of-way acquisition complete. The right-of-way is transferred to the city. We are working on getting FDEM approval to move to our construction phase. That has to be combined with 4.2 based on the way that the grants were procured. They were procured together, and so the projects have to go together for their approval. And so the construction start on that segment is dependent on our land acquisition. In 4.2, we're anticipating to have that in late 2024 to allow the combined projects to go to bid together. Segment 4.2 from Hills to just west of Hutchinson Boulevard. We're working toward the 90% plans. They're in final quality control review. I'm going to expect they'll be ready to be released to the public next month. We're about 78% complete on right-of-way acquisition, so that's really good news. We're settling and negotiating a lot of the parcels in this corridor. We have, I believe, at least 2 parcels that will go through eminent domain. We have hearings scheduled, and so we'll be coming to you to support that effort as we go forward with those acquisitions. I'll say they're friendly acquisitions. However, we have the hearings set up in case we're not able to settle. So it's an impetus to move the project forward. We are always working to try to settle things rather than go to court, but we always need that backup to keep the project on schedule. Our bid date, again, is late 2024 for this. That's based upon getting our FDEM approval and getting the land acquisition complete. And then probably late summer of this year, we'll have a public hearing or public meeting for the combined 4.1, 4.2 project. I'll expect that'll be an open house. We'll have exhibits. We'll have mock-ups of the plans, and we'll be accepting public comment.
And for the combined 4.1, 4.2, what's the total construction timeframe?
The construction timeframe, we'll have to, once we get the 90% approved, we look at budgets. My best guesstimate's about a 4-year construction period for everything. And that's based on the extensive utility undergrounding that's required. I think for me to tell you, the proof is in the pudding of your past projects. So I could sit here, I could tell you fibs, I could tell you, hey, we'll put bonuses and we'll get the work done. Given the amount of work that's going on in the community, I will tell you our contracting community is pretty strained. So you can ask for it to be done faster, and what you'll wind up getting is higher prices to cover your damages. So we have to give the contractor a reasonable amount of time to do the amount of work that we're asking to do in cramming all of those underground overhead utilities underground in the same place as city utilities in very narrow rights of way, as narrow as 66 feet wide. To give the public some idea, a subdivision street typically has a 50 to 60 foot right of way. So we're trying to build a 4-lane road in rights of way that aren't much bigger than a subdivision street. It's tight, it's tough, and it's difficult work. And so it takes a while to do that. It's while we keep everybody in service.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you not sandbagging that and giving us a realistic estimate there.
As a wise man once said, it is what it is. We're trying to do tough things in difficult conditions and keep the city operating, and so that takes time.
Yeah.
Right.
And what's the anticipated cost for 4.1 and 4.2?
So right now, our current estimates are about 55 million for each segment, so that'll be roughly 110. We'll get updates once we have the 90% completed. We'll have some cost estimate updates that'll be done for the budget year, but the last estimate that we did, about 75%, was about 110 million for the combined project.
Thank you.
Segment 4.3, again, still in that phase. We're a little further back. We're waiting on some final stuff from FPL. We have gotten that. We're in review now to determine how that affects our land acquisition. As people may or may not know, the agreements for undergrounding require the city to acquire all of the right-of-way for FPL for their switches and their substations that are along the corridor to do the undergrounding. So we have to get their right-of-way information in order to proceed on those parcels. So we're talking to property owners one time. So they have been behind in getting that to us, which has kind of pushed the timelines a little bit. So right now, based upon that impact to our schedule, we're looking at late 2025 if the right-of-way goes the way that the city attorney, assistant city attorney, and our land acquisition consultants are telling me. We do expect more parcels in this corridor. We have narrower rights-of-way along more of the corridor in this section, which means we have more land acquisition. And we expect a lot of those parcels, they're represented by council, by opposing council. And so we're expecting less settlements and probably more eminent domain in that section, which does take more time.
And so would 4.3 run concurrent with 4.1, 4.2?
No, it would be delayed for bid by about a year, but yes, the construction would be concurrent on the current timeframes.
Okay. So
And I'll expect that one between 3 and 4 years. Again, I'm not quite at the phase where I can give you harder numbers on the schedule. We got to kind of see the final scope of work and then be able to put a schedule to that.
You have the rough cost estimate on that one?
That one, I believe, came in about 60 million when we did the estimate for that single phase.
You think we can finish those 3 segments in 6 years?
That would be what I'm telling you. If from today, yeah, it's probably about right. My goal is to get them to construction and get them underway, and then we can, like I say, once we go to bid, we'll have much harder timelines because we'll have an actual contract time that we'll be bidding. I will say one thing in response to some concerns that I've had. We certainly can work on trying to put the bids together so that we instruct the contractor not to open up work before they're ready to actually work in a section. I will tell you that it's difficult with the way that we do construction. Once you begin pipe work, you pretty much have to disturb that side of the corridor, and it doesn't get put back until you're all done because you're basically opening that part of the patient up, doing all that underground. And then what I call is baking the cake is that, and then putting the icing on is putting the roadway in. The roadway is not the difficult part. It's all that underground work and trying to piece everything together and move everything around. That goes slow and it's challenging.
Sure.
Some other near-term CRA projects, and when I say near-term, I talk in 10-year timeframes because that's what we have to plan for with budgeting. And these are listed in that map. Hills Road from Front Beach to Panama City Beach Parkway, currently in the long-range transportation plan from Emerald Coast Regional Planning Council. That's a 4-lane widening, and that's what the city has worked with them to have programmed as far as that long-range transportation plan. Right now, the current bid year is 2027 in the city's budgeting. So we will want to begin the design of that corridor probably in the next budget year. So we'll be coming to you in the budget request with a request to go out for procurement on engineering, which would then have also right-of-way acquisition and construction associated with it, probably in the 5-year look ahead. We also have Alf Coleman Road. This is a 4-lane widening of the entire corridor from Front Beach Road to US 98. The bid year, as you see there in the current long-range plan, is 2031. We would probably, in the out years of the budget and the planning, be looking at design. We typically need to start design 3 to 4 years ahead of doing construction just because of a year and a half so to design. We have land acquisition concurrent with that. Alf Coleman's going to require, we have some retention ponds that will require additional retention ponds. It will also probably require some floodplain management because of the nature of that corridor with the flooding that occurs. Nautilus Street is another one that's in the 10-year plan. That's Front Beach to US 98. That is a 2-lane enhanced, so if I can describe that, that would involve the existing 2 lanes, but we would add turn lanes, we would add bicycle lanes, we would add sidewalks, lighting. All the corridors involve undergrounding of utilities as well. Challenges to completion, I think we've all experienced these, but I'll go through them. Utility companies, we are working diligently on 4.1 and 4.2 to have much better communication with utilities. We have monthly standing meetings with both FPL and AT&T. AT&T has extensive underground facilities, particularly in segment 4.2. We are working with them to work much closer to identify their conflicts, try to mitigate those conflicts, plan for them, and do a better job than we've done on past CRA projects. So I think that's something that we've tried to bring to the table is that I'll call it a statewide look at how do you manage utilities, how do you deal with those issues. So we'll have what are called utility work schedules. We'll get commitments from them as to how long it takes them to do their portion of the work. We'll put that in the contracts, and the contract will have that information to understand our construction timelines and be able to bid that effectively. And then we put that coordination responsibility on the contractor to manage that effort with our assistance, rather than us doing all that heavy lifting. Cost estimates, inflation. I will tell you that inflation, we're starting to see it level off a little bit, I think, in a statewide. It's increasing. It's not increasing as fast, I guess, is the best way I can say that. So hopefully that airplane will level off and may even dip a little bit. But it's a challenge chasing those numbers. We experienced this in the industry back in 2007, 2008. And then we had obviously what occurred. It leveled down, leveled off, and we got good prices. So unfortunately, it's just the timing of when you do construction and what that market is at that time. Right now, we got a lot of work on the street here. That doesn't reduce prices. Construction fatigue. We know the public's frustrated with segment 3. I'll tell you that in 2 years here, we've taken it from about 20% to about 80, what I gave you, 82%. And making progress every day. Constantly addressing challenges on the project, moving it forward. There is a finish line. It's slower than we would like, but we're going to get there, and we're going to try to learn lessons so that we do better on future projects. And then weather, as I indicated to you, we get affected. Now we're into the rainy season. Not ideal. We tried to do that box culvert work back in the dry season. Utilities didn't help us out with that, so we had to start, say in the March timeframe, which puts us into weather. Contractors are certainly going to have issues with that, going to want to probably receive at least time for that. So, that's just the challenges of doing this kind of work in the state that we live in. Community outreach, I won't go in great detail, but we've done a pretty extensive community outreach. We work with our partners with DOT on the US 98 projects to try to communicate within our CRA. The work that's going on PCV Parkway, as well as our work, we do try to coordinate lane closures. We're in contact with all of those engineering firms that are managing those projects to try to do the best we can to keep everybody updated, informed, and safe. That's all I have today. I'll take any questions.
I noticed when you're coming west on Back Beach Road and you make the left onto 79, there are currently 2 arrow lights that are lighting up.
Okay.
Whereas only one, I know that eventually will both lanes be able to turn left
Yes.
there? Okay, I'm just concerned that people that are in that inner lane that are making that left and someone decides to go too, we're going to have some accidents there. I don't know if it's possible to change that to a solid green for now or to make it cover it up.
We'd either bag it or I'd try to accommodate the 2 lanes receiving, so I will take a look at that and we'll see if we can make some improvements. So I'm concerned if we bag one of the heads, we'll have backups on 98, but we can coordinate with FDOT and figure out if that can be accommodated as a single left turn lane in the interim until we get the full widening. And like I say, we do have 4 lanes. We do have 2 lanes of pavement to receive it, so we perhaps can make that adjustment. So we'll take a look at that.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have any public meetings planned for 4-3?
We do not have a public meeting for 4-3 planned at this time. We need to get to the 90% phase, and then we'll go to construction. We have done pretty extensive outreach with several of the business owners within the corridor. I've met with, the Monkey Shack. I've met with Outlaw Rentals. We've met with Julie Hilton down there. So we've certainly met as we've had inquiries or outreach, but we haven't done a formal public meeting. But we've done some coordination with a lot of the business owners as they come up. And so I feel pretty comfortable, since that's a more commercialized area, that we have a pretty good pulse on things. Mostly the concerns are business access and how's this going to affect me during construction. We'll certainly probably have a little more once we actually send more of our notices out for the land acquisition, and then we'll continue to do that outreach. But I'm a little less concerned about, I'll call it individual resident concerns there, because it's mostly business affected.
Okay.
Or large condo developments, entities that we can work with to manage.
Yeah, it'd still be nice to schedule
We will.
one or two so that.
Need to have a plan to be able to present first.
Are we able to continue our eastwardly track on segment 3 while the weir is being constructed?
Yeah, we're going to work everything from the roundabout down to low water. Mostly what's affected is from low water to the end of the project. We've made some maintenance of traffic changes to be able to keep that portion of the project active to the box culvert. It's really everything from the box culvert, which is between Panama City Resort and Club and Sterling Breeze. The Sterling Breeze area, it'll probably morph into segment 4.1.
Okay. Because, I'd like to see as much of that western side get done.
We're working, what part of our negotiation with the contractor is going to be a phased acceptance for final acceptance, where we get the majority of the project accepted in that time frame that I gave you.
All right.
Like I said, that box culvert's going to be challenging because of the conditions that we're working in and because of what we've had to deal with the utilities. That was our critical path for completion of the overall project.
Scott, how much you can draw down the lake in the wintertime to help with the invasive vegetation in there? Approximately how many feet?
So the weir structure is at 440. I'm going to probably get this wrong. I'd want to look it up. I think the bottom of the box culvert's about an elevation of 1.2. And so the sluice gate that we have in there, basically the gate will operate where you can raise it. You can create an orifice at the bottom of the weir to be able to allow that water to come down. So the city really has, with the way that it's designed, you'll have infinite control over where that lake level is. You'll be able to monitor it. You can close the gate once you get it to the level.
You can drop it a foot or two, something like that.
You can, it will be able to be managed in whatever way that the city desires to manage the lake.
But you can't drop it any lower than what the elevation
Uh,
cross drain is.
I think that you're going to be limited by the amount of water that comes in from runoff, so I don't think it would ever go dry. What I would tell you is, the way it's designed, because it drains from the bottom, you can monitor that lake and you can fine tune it pretty much every day.
Well, I know
if
they've
you
had a
wanted
lot
to.
of success at Deer Point doing
Right.
that during the coldest months of the year.
The way it was designed is to give the city the discretion to be able to do that. And the permit agencies have agreed to that based upon the permits that we have.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I think before the 90% plan for 4-3 is done, it is worth reaching out and having a meeting. You have existing pending plans. You can talk about those.
Okay. We'll take that direction.
I agree with, I'm okay with that. I mean, as long as you think you have enough to go on.
I'd like to have enough detail with the real estate acquisition that I can actually tell the public what I'm planning to take of their property, which I don't have at the current time. So I have to get FPL's stuff finalized, and we have to have parcel sketches and descriptions and be able to put that on a graphic to be able to explain to the public. I think at that point, I'm comfortable doing that. Right now, if somebody asks me, well, how much of my property are you taking? I can't really tell them that for certainty at this time because of the FPL issues.
Okay. I guess, is everybody okay with that?
I'd like him to get to the point that he wants to be at.
I mean, we need to get the public involved.
Sure,
I mean,
sure,
90% is pretty far along.
Are we gonna-
He can talk about what is up in the air. I mean, that's perfectly reasonable to have that conversation with adults and public.
I just don't want to create a bunch of questions we don't have answers to, and like we're not up to speed.
I can make the commitment, we will go to a public meeting prior to issuing the 90% plans. Let me get, if you would please allow me to get that project to the level where I've got something that I can present. I'll talk to the design team, and we'll come back to you with when we can do that.
How soon do you think you'd be able to do that?
I can tell you probably within the next week.
Perfect.
When we think we'll have the FPL issues resolved. I have a meeting this afternoon with our real estate team, so I'll go ahead and we'll talk about that. I'll get you that.
So
answer.
have him come back and let us know, hey, I'm ready, let's do it.
Yeah.
I'm good with that, yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
Anything else?
Everybody okay with that?
I'm good.
Yep. Good.
Yeah.
All right.
That's all.
Thank you much.
Questioning.
Okay. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
All right. Next, we're going to public comment on the consent agenda and non-agenda business. Bill, could you just hold up for a second?
Sure. I'm just getting close.
Because this, just for folks who this is the first time, because the skate park is an agenda item, we're going to take comment on it after this public comment. I will indicate when that's coming on. And I will say, when you come up, please say your name, respectfully address the council as a whole, please stick to city business, and please speak into the microphone. All right, go ahead.
Okay. I'm Bill Caravello from Bitterwing Beach. And just like you said, speak into the phone, but a microphone, a lot of you guys up there don't speak into the microphone. You seem to back up. But anyway, other than that, I'd like to make a proposal about the city manager and the legal lawyer, that they sit up on the dais up there. I think that was the way it was in the past, maybe before your time, naturally, except maybe him. I don't want to point him out, but except one. But I think it's a good idea because we can't hear. I mean, I sat 2 rows behind him last time, and I made some questions, and I had to get up after the meeting, and even though I got my hearing aids in, and ask him what he said. So I think it's about time that they come up there. Ms. Fazzone can sit here. I don't want to take a space, or you guys can move closer together.
Okay.
All right? The other thing I want to say is we're going to 4-lane Alf Coleman in 7 years after we just did all this. That's all I got to say.
That's just the first one.
Go ahead.
Mary Lou Race, 16810 Castile Avenue. Good morning, Mayor and council members.
Good morning.
The South Arnold construction has really been a disaster for the small businesses along the road. Christy at West Beach Mail excelled in customer service, and she hung on as long as possible. The community misses her and the convenience of her little post office. The restaurants along South Arnold also are struggling, namely Sandbar, Muy Buenos, La Cocina. They've been struggling for far too long. I was wondering if there has been or will be any kind of monetary compensation or some kind of mitigation to help these mom and pops survive. On another note, many in our beach communities, including myself, are very dissatisfied that our Panama City Beach mayor was voted out of a seat on the Tourist Development Council, when historically the mayor sits on that board. Thank you.
While I appreciate it, guys, let's keep the clapping to a minimum. We're going to try and run a respectful public meeting here, and so I appreciate the cheering section, but we want to keep it quiet. Thank you.
Clapping was respectful. Anyway. Rex Lee Reed, Gulf Lane. I think the voters sent a very clear message to the council in the last election that they were tired of business as usual. And like the lady said, when they did the board, did a dipsy-do flipperoo, if you will, and kept the mayor not only off the TDC but the TPO, I think the citizens are disgraced and outraged at this outcome. And we hope going forward, you did the same with the planning board as well, that you'll have positions on the planning board and the airport board that you will listen to the voters of this community. If you want to have the honor of serving us, listen. Turn up your hearing aid.
Thank you, Rex.
Good morning. My name's Don Rice. I'd just like to make a few comments based on this was written and discussed group-wise before Scott mentioned anything. But this is in concerning the community redevelopment plan. And apparently the CRP lists 3 major concerns, and they call them primary objectives. It's to improve the pedestrian movement, improve the parking for the public beach area, and improve the transportation along Front Beach Road. Using that current iteration of this project, I'd like to go into that and just see how we're doing at this point. Okay. So improving the pedestrian movement, a 10-foot sidewalk on one side of the street, Front Beach Road, and an 8-foot sidewalk on the other side, that definitely will move some people. So I'll give them 100% on that one. That's 1/3 of the 3, I mean. The next one is improved parking. But page 17 of the Appendix B says, and I quote, "The parking needs to become a greater concern and predominantly because of the residential areas." Then it lists where there's 320 additional parking spots that would be located. Currently, according to an email from Scott, they are still being looked at for these parking area concerns. So I'm going to give you a 0 right now on that. So that's not been accomplished. And then the improving the transportation portion. Concerning the automotive traffic, we currently have 2 lanes and two-way traffic. The current plan keeps the 2 lanes of the two-way traffic, but adds 2 stoplights. This gives you a 0 on improving the traffic flow. Okay, so 2 of the 3 have not been met. But based on the concerns of the 2 lanes for the buses, the shuttles, or the trolleys, or whatever, we've been told that there were a required and/or restriction objectives to be used for the funds. Okay, based on an email from the Panama City Beach financial director, it indicates there are no current restrictions on that, on how the money is spent. Okay, next, it's been that once they do the addition and the sidewalks and this, that, and the other, on the east end of Bedouin Beach, it's going to be identical when it comes out with 1 lane going one direction, but it explodes because of Middle Beach and takes the pressure off of Front Beach after you get past the new Margaritaville. So that's not going to do anything. And then they also explain that from a mobility standpoint.
Don, can you wrap it up?
Yeah, okay. There's two divisions. Residential, 67% say they would never ride the shuttle. The other 23% states that they'd ride it if it was within 3 blocks and if the shuttle came every 15 minutes.
Okay. Thank you, Don.
Okay, and visitors, how many people are going to read it?
All right, thank you.
Good morning, y'all. Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
I just want to make sure I'm speaking to the microphone okay.
Yeah.
The past couple of meetings...
could you please state your name?
I'm sorry, sir. Scott Heilman, 137 Johnson Bayou Drive. The past couple of meetings have left me a little concerned. I've been hearing a lot of discussions about law changes under the guise of protecting us and reducing traffic. The idea that government knows best has long been discredited. Benjamin Franklin said those who would give up liberty for security deserve neither. He understood increased government interventions lead to inefficiencies, overregulations, and as Stu can attest to, government abuses which led to the loss of his personal freedoms. The proposed changes to limit the number of large events in Panama City Beach to reduce the traffic lacks insight. People flock here to enjoy the world's most beautiful beaches. Traffic occurs not because of an air show during Bike Week, rather because we host over 100,000 visitors daily on a strip of land with only 3 roads. Moving events to non-busy weeks merely shifts the congestion, raising the probability of gridlock on otherwise quiet weekends, thus increasing the days of traffic, thus increasing, not decreasing, the number of days of daily traffic. An increase in public transit would be a welcome luxury, but instead of deploying a trolley lane by the neighborhoods, you'd prefer the liberal approach of growing the heavy-handed government. Furthermore, increasing government involves posing other serious questions. When there's an event conflict, will bureaucracy grow an additional new board unaccountable to the voters? Who will decide which event takes precedence? I foresee pay-to-play schemes along with political favoritism becoming the political norm. Maybe I'm just jaded here, but I think the plans need to address that. Instead of growing government with ineffective laws with the hope of fixing the impossible, why not address basic issues like timing traffic lights for more efficient flow? Fix the 98 North Coleman Avenue turn where only 3 cars can pass through cycles. Why are we proposing changing laws and growing government for seasonal traffic before picking up the phone to fix the problems everyday daily use? The government's lack of planning caused this traffic problem. Each attempt to improve it has made the situation worse. You'd prefer to have cars parked literally on the side of Front Beach Road instead of using that real estate for additional transit lanes. Yet we're expected to believe that granting more bureaucratic power to our government will magically fix the traffic problems. Forgive me for my skepticism in believing the government will fix the problems it created when the government is not already using the tools available to it. There's a big part of me that feels like this is a power grab to give more control to the government. If the genuine plan was to fix the woes of traffic, to fix our traffic woes, I think things should be different. I challenge all of you up here to prove me wrong. Today, publicly support the Front Beach CRA by Bidwee Beach. Show us that you are all for us, that none of you up here are just individual city councilmen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Molly Allen, Lowwater Lake. I sent an email to each one of you, and I told you I'd be here today to ask you the questions. I wanted you to thoughtfully consider some answers for my 10 questions that I sent you. This is in regards to the testing of the low water, stormwater quality that's going on right now by Gemini. Number one, what is the purpose of the stormwater quality testing? Seems like a redundant question, but we had this same testing last year in April by Resolution 2339 for an amount not to exceed $150,000 by Gemini. So I'm curious, is this study going to be comparative to the last time this study was done? Also, I'd like to know where's the funding from the testing coming from? Which general ledger account are you taking the money from? And how much is it costing? Who is it costing? I also would like to know who is the certifier of the information that will be approving the testing results and to publish and submit to you, the council. I'd also like to know when and where the detailed and fully certified results will be available to me, the public. I'd also like to know who is the city required to submit these results to? Is it the county? Is it the state? Is it the Corps of Engineers? Is it the Department of Environmental Protection? Is it the Northwest Florida Water Management District? Why is the testing being performed during the drawdown that Mr. Passmore was talking about for the CRA at the lowest point instead of when the lake is at full volume? When we're talking about stormwater, we're talking about volume of water, or we'd be talking about a dry bed creek. So I'm curious, why are we testing now when the water is obviously at the worst quality? It's 2 inches behind my house and it's milky white. Moving forward, will this be an annual event that we will experience this testing? And if so, where is that money going to come from? Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm J.C. Elmore. First of all, thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members, for allowing me to speak today. I appreciate your service to our city and dedication to making it an even better place to live and vacation. I am here to address Ordinance 1644. I own the Beach Wagon. We deliver complete package setups to vacationers that include a wagon, chairs, coolers, umbrellas, and other beach gear. We deliver directly to rental units for people to use during their stay and then pick them up before they leave.
So that's going to be a part of the regular agenda,
Okay.
not public comment. So
Okay.
if you come up when we're talking there.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
Good morning. I'm Sandra Wooden, and I'm from the Colony Club Estates. Things we're concerned about, the runoff water in the yards and in the driveways. Traffic lights on Back Beach, Front Beach should stay greener longer on the side streets so the cars can move to enter and exit both main roads, especially at Griffith Parkway and 98. We get about 4 cars on a green light, and everybody travels Griffith now. We do not need the red lanes on Front Beach. They should be used for a right-hand turn. We're concerned of high taxes, property insurance, and that special tax some restaurants are adding to your bill. Restaurants of Panama City County Pier, we should be able to park free, being a resident of PCB. If you look at state statute number 136, 1964, no county, city, or municipality can charge a person with a handicap tag or handicap permit if the handicapped person is present. Also, no upfront money for any events or music concerts. We ask that all traffic be able to flow during the day on Back Beach during construction. Work should be done at night. No on the skate park at Frank Brown. I'm speaking to over 40 residents from ages 20 to 70. Their answer was more pickleball courts and
Sandra.
sand courts for volleyball.
Sandra, you
Many
can't
are
address the
traveling-
skate park right now.
Okay. Many are traveling to Lynn Haven to play pickleball. The pickleball courts.
Sandra, you can't, that's an agenda item. You can't address that right now. You
Okay, I
can
can't
bring,
talk
you
on
can
that
bring it
one
up.
out now. Okay. Thank you. We do ask the elected council and the city manager work with our mayor, Stuart Tinemer. We ask you work for the residents from Hathaway Bridge to the farthest point west, including all incorporated areas, as they suffer just as we do. Each council member was elected by the people, and each of you pledged to make the best decisions for the residents and not for your gain or special interest groups. The primary.
Thank you,
the
Sandra.
piece-
Thank you.
That time's up.
Time's up, yeah.
Thank you.
We appreciate your comments.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name's Michelle Marie Carter. I live at 3124 East Baldwin Road, Panama City, Florida, 32405. Well, aside from the outfall project, I think that the biggest threat to Panama City Beach are hurricanes. Each year, they predict, well, lately, Panama City Beach hasn't had a hurricane since, I'd say, 1975. Not a major one, a direct hit. Hurricane Michael affected us, but not like Hurricane Eloise did. So the Farmer's Almanac this year is predicting hurricanes to Florida, the Gulf Coast. We're supposed to have a very hot and dry summer. And something that I didn't agree with, I came today because I didn't want to see tornado sirens go through because they are expensive. And yes, he was right about the price. They're $250,000, and the best ones, the ones that you would really want to get, is the one that's $500,000. And I only think that one siren would be necessary, and the only time you would need one of those sirens is at a big event like Aaron Besant Park or Pier Park, where there's large gatherings of people. I don't see them being effective to reach households. Some people that have moved here, like from Tennessee, to get away from tornadoes and have bought houses here, they've told me that these tornado sirens malfunction sometimes, and they're causing a lot more trouble because then people don't take them seriously. This is my NOAA weather radio. It's a Midland NOAA weather radio. I got it in 2019 from Walmart on Panama City Beach, and it was $40 back then. I have not seen a weather radio at Walmart for $21 to $25. They have some, but not all weather radios are the same. When you're looking for a weather radio, you want to look for one that's got a tornado siren, an SOS with a flashlight. It usually will have, it'll have a beacon light, and then it'll flash, like, let's say debris falls on you after a tornado and it's in the middle of the night, first responders can come and find you. And the other thing you want to look for, especially during hurricane season, is you want the FM AM radio. That white weather radio that he showed, I have that one. It's in my storage unit. I don't believe it has AM FM. It just has tornado alerts and warnings, and it's very accurate. But I think that the government or the city should not be buying these weather radios for people, but I think there should be some incentive. There should be, maybe a credit on a water bill, maybe not pay for the whole radio, because you're going to have to spend $40 to get a good one. But I think that we should have weather seminars, and we should have maybe WJHG, the meteorologists, come here and talk about hurricane preparedness, because this is something that's supposed to be in everyone's hurricane kit. It's not because it's important, because you need it after the storm for alerts. It was helpful for me after Hurricane Michael. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Captain Gary Wayne Beck. I live at 2601 Beach Street. Mayor, when you were elected, I told the people you had a choice to do what's right for our entire nation with my inventions. I designed a system to power a city, house, or subdivision with no fossil fuels, along with my oil spill inventions. My inventions has already been graded and approved by a professor that teaches electrical engineering. He went over all my drawings, seen my models produce electricity, and gave me an A+, meaning it will work. And then on top of that, my asteroid defense system, I redesigned it, called it the Pease Asteroid Arresting System, so that we can catch the rock, put it in a geosynchronous orbit, and mine it and study it for its resources.
Sir, can you focus on city business?
And yeah, during the meantime, I'm stuck here, and I can't help but notice how all of a sudden you're getting indoctrinated into the government whenever, you saying city business. If you don't think the survival of our species ain't city business, during the meantime, we have this thing called the Constitution and Bill of Rights. If I want to stay up here and go goo-goo, I can under the Constitution and Bill of Rights. But that's something that has been taken from the people of Bay County, and I can't help but notice you keep saying, when I tell everybody that we've got a serial rapist in this town, you tell me it happened in Bay County. When I tell everybody that we got a serial code enforcement that goes around destroying people's homes and taking people's property, you tell me it's happening in Bay County. So you stop and think just for a second. All these people around you, they know what I've been through, because I've been tortured by the people around you for over 14 years. During the meantime, I'm standing here, and I'm saying, Mayor, why, we elected you to do something that nobody else can do. And that's get me in touch with a law enforcement officer that'll recognize the fact that I've got the devil on the phone, a serial rapist from Panama City, that's proud of the fact he knows everything about the people around you. You don't want to call people around you's names?
Sir, please.
For people, they can't be held accountable for the crimes they commit. They could spread it out amongst enough people that ain't nobody held accountable for the crimes. But during the meantime, here I am, time and time again. This man's still calling me on the phone. The thing about it is, I met one of his friends. He's one of them gender benders. He's first pronouns are he, she, them.
Please keep it to city business.
Yes, city
or
business.
I'm going to call you out of order.
Okay, well, I can't help but notice that he's giving you the advice to say, That's another thing you do. You use the lawyers and everybody else against the people. They overwhelm the people. You know, I've got thick skin. My Constitution and Bill of Rights, they're telling me they're coming to take my house again. If you care about anything, you would get me in touch with the sheriff. I've been to the sheriff's office like 1,500 times trying to get the freaking sheriff to respond to criminal acts that come against the people, a Constitution, our Bill of Rights, everything our nation was founded on. Oh yeah, and they stopped me from speaking at Panama City, Bay County, just like you're threatening to do right now. What makes you different? You know, you haven't heard.
Sir,
I have to face
thank you.
I have to face all
Thank
the
you.
lies they pump out.
Good morning, everyone. I have 3 minutes, 3 items.
Yeah. Could you state your name?
The first one, I have a comment on noise.
Could you state your name?
I'm sorry. My name is Alfredo Martin. They know me as Alfie Martin. I live in Panama City Beach. I've been here since 2012, and I've seen 4 mayors so far. And I wish you the best to all of you, okay? I have a question. I don't want to break any rules. I have a noise comment. Is that, it has to do with the next, what is in the agenda, or I can make it now? A comment about noise, the noise in the city, noise control.
That's not on the agenda.
It's not on the agenda, okay.
Okay, yeah.
Real fast.
I appreciate you.
I think that if we want to make the city really better, we need to start controlling the level of noise. We have to enforce it. We've been clocking the noise at 105, 112, 102, and I know everybody's trying to do the best, but if you control the noise of people, motorcycles, cars, me, we can have a more peaceful attitude, okay? The number 2 is, I have, let me see. Okay, sound system. Look, you don't need to spend any money. Get somebody that knows about sound, and you can fix the sound here so everybody can hear. You must be tired by now of listening to people say, I can't hear, speak loud. This is a very easy fix. Number 1, we have the reverb is too wide here. Second, you don't have enough sound, and it's bouncing on the, so if you get somebody that really knows about sound, you can fix it in 1 hour, 2 hours, and I'm sure there are enough volunteers in this city that will do it for you, or at least will coach you on it, and we all be happy. And the third one, I have, 51 seconds, is about the Arts Council. I see 4 mayors, I see many, many council people. I know you're trying to do the best, okay? I know you and the legal and everybody. For a disclaimer, I'm part of the Public Works Board. Please, let's get to work on an arts council. We don't need big money on it, little projects, national and international, that will bring the attention to our city. But also, all my friends and people that I know, they come to this city and they all tell me, what do I do here? So when they come back, instead of coming 10 days and spending 10 days of money, they are 1 day or 2 days because they want to visit us. And these are very important people in the arts. Thank you so much. Please create an arts council. Okay? Volunteer.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, City Council, Mayor. My name is Aaron Atkins, 8551 Panama City Beach Parkway. Up until 4 years ago, I was a resident of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. And there's only been 2 council meetings, city council meetings I've ever attended. Second one's today. The first one was in June of 1999 after a F5 tornado ripped through Oklahoma City. I was a trained first responder, so I was out there in the aftermath of that tornado. And I can tell you that what you see on TV doesn't do the destructive power of these storms any justice. I can tell you that from a fact because I was here when you had your last hurricane. I believe that was Sally in Pensacola. And I lived through 2 tornadoes, one of them up close and personal. So I can tell you for a fact that what you see on TV doesn't do it any justice. You have to feel and hear these storms before you get the full respect for it. I'm a 10-year veteran, 3 years in a combat unit, and I can tell you for a fact that nothing scared me more than what I saw on May 30th, 2013 from the door of Western Heights High School. That particular tornado came skipping down Southwest 44th Street, and I'm sitting here right now talking to you about it, and it still makes me shake. There was a west-facing door. I could look out that door, and I could see that rain-wrapped tornado skipping down Southwest 44th Street like a girl skipping down the street. And I could sit there and watch that tornado pull telephone poles out of the ground like they were birthday candles out of a kid's cake right down the street. My son was a police officer in Tuttle at that time. He was standing behind me. He was screaming in my ear, "Dad, we gotta go. Dad, we gotta go." At about that time, I could feel that tornado try to suck me out that door. And I could feel it. I could hear it. And believe me, there is nothing that scared me more than that particular moment. Nothing scared me more. Oklahoma City has one of the best tornado awareness, tornado alert systems in the entire country. I would highly recommend that you emulate that system. Now, they were talking about tornado sirens. They had one 3/4 of a mile down the road, rotating one. I could hear that tornado siren from 3/4 of a mile away, despite the roar of that tornado. So people saying that those tornado sirens don't work, they're wrong. I heard it. When I came out that day,
Thank you, sir.
At the end of that night, what I saw in my neighborhood, you can't possibly imagine what I saw.
Thank you.
So please, I would consider, please
Sir.
consider tornado sirens as an option, and all the above option. It saves lives, believe me, I know. I was there.
Thank you. Any other public comment on consent or non-agenda items? Okay.
I'm Peter Fischetti. My wife and I have lived here for almost 9 years. I was one of the applicants, about a dozen applicants, to fill a vacancy on the planning board. You may not know that because only one of you bothered to contact me. Planning board is real important. It's kind of middleman between the planning department and the city council. And it plays a real important role in determining the development of the city. So, wouldn't you think you'd want to have the best person, the best people on that board? And how do you find that out? Well, you look at the people who have applied and you contact them. 15-minute interview, learn what you can, ask them questions, give them a chance to prove their qualifications. That wasn't done. I don't know exactly how the person who was chosen, but I never had a chance. There'll be some openings later on this year, I think, on the planning board. And I hope this time around that you fulfill the responsibilities of finding the best person. I don't care if it's me. I can live with that. What I can't live with is being put in a position of not even being able to talk to you and to let you know what I would do as a planning board member. And I'll bet you I wasn't the only one in that position. So why don't we do it right next time?
Thank you. Further public comment? Okay. Oh.
If somebody would, please grab my 2 boards of evidence. There's 2 things of evidence I couldn't bring in here because they're big. if somebody would grab those outside the door for me, or I'll go do it in a second.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
My name's Garrison Creamer, 1712 Connecticut Avenue, Lynn Haven, Florida. First off, I'd like to ask you guys to vote for a very simple law. It's called Garrison's Law, named after me. And it's a real simple law. Basically, it states from this point, every time you vote for a law, and this should be across the United States, that you have to attach a reason for it. And this will increase legislative accountability as well as traceability. And as you can tell, I'm a little upset. It's difficult to be civil, especially when my primary focus is saving lives. Now, the current boogie boarding law that you guys have in Panama City Beach is absurd, okay? Now, Garrison's Law would come back and say, hey, who voted for that? Because it really shows broad incompetence, okay? So, currently, boogie boarding and double red flags is illegal. Surfing's legal. It's an interchangeable sport. That day that I was put on the news, first of all, we got like 5 facts wrong by WJHC and WMBB. Thank you. I'll show these in a second. Now, there is some things called social norms, okay? Now, I know you guys passed a law that said you can't boogie board and double red flags. Okay, but from what authority do you have that? And you go back on the video and they go ask, you know, some lifeguard, head of department, no liability there. Oh, we outlawed boogie boarding because the boards all the kids buy from, you know, Alvin's Island break and stuff. And of course, that is the exact wrong direction you should go. You should say, hey, we've got faulty equipment being sold to kids. But no, you go in the opposite direction towards a cultural war. And that's what's going on here today. I have invented a sport called Garrison Ball. It competes with rugby, competes with soccer, football. And so when you're up here, I mean, you need to leave solutions to the marketplace. The fact that you guys are up here deciding in the future, and this connects to this, that should we have pickleball or should we have skateboarding? You should let people pay with their own money and not point a gun at them and say, hey, give us your money because this is how we're going to spend it. And then we have an obstruction of justice. They're trying to call me crazy.
Thank you, sir.
Because I know all the laws.
Thank you, sir. And please remove those items.
All right, and here would be the difference.
Thank you, sir.
Virtually.
Thank you, sir. Any further public comment? Okay. Let's move on to the consent agenda. Ms. Fazzoni.
Resolution 24-131, a resolution of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, approving the purchase of one submersible pump for lift station 128 from AAG Electric Motors and Pumps, Inc., in the total amount of $28,862. Resolution 24-132, a resolution of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, approving an agreement with Design Plastic Systems, Inc., for the purchase of 2 sodium aluminate tanks for the city's wastewater treatment facility in the total amount of $96,278. Resolution 24-133, a resolution of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, approving the purchase of 3 Club Car Carryall 300 gas golf carts in the total amount of $36,210.07 from Jerry Pate Turf Irrigation, Inc., and agreeing to be bound by the terms and conditions of the Sourcewell Contract 122220 CCR governing that purchase. And number 4, revision of the master audit list to remove obsolete items.
You have a motion?
Second.
Ms. Fazzoni, please call roll.
Councilman Jarman?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Castro.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Coburn.
Yes.
Councilman Register.
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Teddemer.
Yes, ma'am. Next, we've, what many people here have been waiting for, we have the discussion of the skate park. Cheryl, Ms. Joyner, please come up and do presentation. We're going to, so just so everyone knows, we're going to have a presentation, then we'll have public comment, and then we'll have council discussion.
Good morning.
Morning.
Want to thank my Assistant Director Keith for putting this together for us pretty quickly. Just want to be able to give you guys just a little history and background for any that don't know. We did have a master plan for Frank Brown Park that was updated in 2022. So you can see some of the items that are in that. We have the Safe Room Community Center, the Connector Road, Stormwater Study, the skate park. We've discussed relocating the basketball courts and adding pickleball in its place. All of these items are in the 5-year plan. Stormwater study, Kathy, my friend back there, will help if you have questions on that. But as we continue to add impervious services, stormwater is a big topic of discussion. Skate park was planned for 2024. It's in this year's budget and was approved by previous council. And as you can see, we've already picked a firm. There was a committee that have picked a firm on that. So the discussion today was direction on budget for that. These are the items again that were discussed. The pickleball was planned for next fiscal year. As your base comparisons, again, these are the skate park. We have a pretty good idea on pickleball, or estimates. We haven't, because that hasn't started, don't have exact numbers, but we do feel pretty good about these. There's 3 different locations in the park that are options for these items that you can see right there. Site 1 is, you can see behind the current community center and the future location of the new community center. It's the least ready for construction. Again, the safe room construction and stormwater could affect that greatly. It would accommodate the fewest number of pickleball courts. We'd probably be looking at about 7 there. There's an older restroom there that when we first talked about this, it would be an option of remodeling that and having a pavilion connected. The more we've talked and thought about the new community center, there's going to be generators and whatnot in the back of that building that's going to need to be accessible. So I really don't think this is a great option. Site 2 was the one that is currently identified as the option for the skate park. That's what this firm has based their findings on. It is a possibility to put pickleball there. Again, Keith worked some magic and you could accommodate probably 9 in that area. The third one is originally where we talked about moving basketball. Again, that could be skate park or pickleball. Probably the biggest number for pickleball courts would be 10 in that area. So we're on to the next steps. The direction from you guys. Again, Site 1, in my personal opinion, I think refurbishing the basketball courts and keeping them there, again, it's all based on stormwater predictions, would probably be the most likely option. Site 2, desirable for either. Again, Site 3, probably have the most options for the number of courts for pickleball. The skate park has been advertised. The design firm selected, we've discussed. Pickleball is in the 2025 plan. I know we're coming to budget shortly. That's 4 months away for the 2025. So basically, we need to know what, where, and how much.
So for Site 3, we'd still need to do additional work there to add restrooms and water.
Yes. Yeah, and I did want to point out, in this year I had $400,000 that's approved for the new basketball courts. Mm-hmm. If we left them alone in their location and just did a resurfacing, and they need fence up, the fence was torn down, probably 100 to 150 there would give us another 250 to put towards that location.
Okay. And were you able to talk to Bay County or any of the other folks about what's coming on for pickleball capacity up here recently?
I didn't get any solid confirmation. There's been lots of talks of Majette Park. I heard Lake Powell might be getting it, but I didn't get confirmation.
Okay.
Mayor, I might have some information on that.
Go ahead.
So, well, I'm just going to say a bunch of stuff. I don't know how we got into the confusion of an either or with pickleball or skate park. As Cheryl just pointed out, the pickleball is budgeted for 2025, 4 months away. Now, I've got some information. The new indoor sports facility that the TDC is building will house 24 courts inside. They are also looking at expanding their parking at the park. That will also increase outdoor pickleball. They're looking to put outdoor pickleball courts there as well. Not sure the exact number, but somewhere around 60.
What's the time frame on that?
They're planning to break ground by the end of September.
Okay. And construction will be...
Well, I don't know that yet.
It'd be a little ways, yeah.
But, well, maybe not. I mean, it is what it is. It's no quicker than what we could do. But yeah, they're planning to break ground on that indoor 24-court facility end of September. So that's what, great news. Yeah. It's tourist money going to something that locals can really get behind and enjoy.
Where's this going? Sorry.
The public sportsplex. It's on the east end of the beach. So, all right.
Chip Seal
Okay.
Parkway.
Chip Seal Parkway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Cheryl, before we move to direction, I
Yes.
want to have public comment. Okay.
Are you sure?
We want public comment here.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
do it.
So now I'll take public comment. As you go up, I know a number of you want to comment. If there are a decent number for this that are saying the same thing, please just add something new and unique. And at some point, we may just want to do a show of hands for who's here to support what. So please come up, public comment, state your name, and keep it to 3 minutes.
Good morning, Mayor and council members. My name is Brian Reitz, and I am the president of the Panhandle Pickleball Club. I live at 105 Bidawee Court. It's excellent to hear this new news and also clarification on pickleball or skateboard. We are not here to nick skateboarding at all. Put in as many parks as you can. Good luck. My wife and I are residents of PCB and play pickleball at least 5 times a week. I'm speaking today as a resident and on behalf of our nonprofit club with about 150 members at ages ranging from 11 to 85 years. Our board and predecessors have been attending council meetings and working with the rec department over the last 6 years regarding the need for more pickleball courts. So we're glad to hear there's more coming. Many of you received emails and phone calls from our club in the last 24 hours. After we heard of the new development of a skateboard park at Frank Brown that might put the plans for building pickleball courts in the back seat. Thank you for promptly responding to those inquiries and clarifications. We had not heard a single word about pickleball since the meeting that I attended back in 2022 of what's going on, even the timing. We knew at that time that pickleball was going to be 1 to 2 years. I thought 3 to 4, and I guess we're on the 4-year plan. We were also assured, though, at that meeting that monies had already been allocated and exist for more pickleball courts, and now I'm hearing we're not sure we have monies or whatever. We understand that other items must take place first, such as road straightening, water management issues, etc. We totally agree with that. So I am hearing that the master plan does include additional pickleball courts here at Frank Brown. Thank you very much for that clarification. But I do want to make some comments about what we have today. The existing 4 courts at Lindell are very challenging. 2 courts have significant cracks, and the other 2 courts are slanted. There are no shades, not even a bathroom. During the morning and evening hours, you see about 25 people waiting while all 4 courts are in play. Often, players leave frustrated or have stated that they will never come back until more courts are available. 4 years ago, 4 courts weren't enough. Today, 8 courts aren't enough. And in 4 more, 12 courts won't be enough. This sport is growing. We need more courts soon. We have many resources available to assist the council and design firm with the development of new courts. Once we have improved our club, we can also serve as an organization for the rec department to leverage and run clinics, competitions, and league plays as we've done it successfully with other neighbor cities. A recent tournament held in Port St. Joe grossed over $25,000. 4 days, 4 courts, 180 members. We can't wait to get started and support the fastest growing sport in the U.S. and the beautiful city as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, it's me, Molly Allen again. Many of you may not know that in my former career, I owned a skate shop called Skull Kitchen Skate Shop. And I'm here to support anything that you can do for the kids of this community in the skate world in any way. I can't tell you how these places will change kids' lives for the better. Many at-risk children gravitate to the sport, and when you surround these young people with other children and parents who care, I'm here to tell you that skate parks save lives. It takes a village to grow a small community, and I see this potential park as a benefit to the residents. Our Lullwater community, there's people moving in with small children, and they have their grandchildren coming in, and I think that the people and their kids need a variety for exercise and recreation. There's so much more that goes into the sport, from the responsibility of owning the skateboard. Maybe the children have to save to buy their own skateboard. It teaches them money management. Also to the maintenance, equipment maintenance, to keep those wheels rolling. My husband, which a lot of people know as Boozer, used to let the kids come behind the counter and press their own bearings into their wheels. And while he was doing that, he would remind them, keep your boards out of the sand, keep the wheels and the bearings greased up. It creates lifelong friendships and bonds, and we even had a young man contact us 15 years after our shop had closed to tell us that it was because of our shop and the way that we ran it and the people that were in it that caused him to know what marriage and what relationships in life was all about. He was a latchkey kid, and we gave him a place to come and be, and it made a difference in his life. He now has children of his own who skateboard. So I'm all for the skate park.
Thanks, Molly.
Thank you, Molly.
Good morning, Board. My name's Jim Frost. I'm also a board member of Panhandle Pickleball Club. I live at 32 Park Place on the beach. I'm a child of the 70s. I grew up in Hawaii. I'm encouraging skate parks. I grew up building my own boards, and I enjoy skateboarding, and I'd love to ride on a new park. What I'd like to address with you is a need for pickleball instruction. I see courts being built. I see it all the time out at Lindell. New people come up saying, how do I learn how to play this game? And even though we have new facilities, I encourage the board to look at Parks and Recreation to create a system where training for new people that want to use those courts are encouraged to do so.
Are you volunteering?
We have, yes, sir. I'm not a certified instructor, but I have taught several friends who said, I want to learn how to play. We, as part of the Panhandle Pickleball Club, have also held a clinic at Frank Brown Park indoors where we've trained classes, and we've tried to do a second class and was basically shut down by the previous board saying, you're taking away a facility that is already being used. We don't want to support that. What I see needs to be done is encourage people that want to learn how to play to have a facility to do so. Out at Lindell, there's only 4 courts. So when new people show up, us people are already on there. They already feel intimidated that they don't want to join our community because we're experienced, they want to learn. There's not appropriate time. So if you build new courts, I encourage you to provide some facility to provide training to encourage people that want to learn how to play. and we can help with that.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Joseph Lindberg, 39. I've been a Bay County resident my entire life. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council.
Thank you.
I just want to read you a quality of life statement from, he's actually the quality of life director in Panama City. And it's from a good friend of mine, Shannon. She owns a hair salon in downtown Panama City. I also have a best friend of my life, Daniel. He owns Release Skate Supply. And this is from Mr. Keith Mediford, quality director of life, or whatever it is. It was great speaking with you regarding skate parks in our community. I can only speak on our skate park in the city. We would not be happier with our park, and we are looking to grow it. We have very little trouble out of it and get tons of views. We have a great relationship with the skaters, and we're actually wanting to put in lights and consider expanding. We also are looking to maybe do another park over by the Hathaway Bridge. I would absolutely, encourage communities to be more open-minded as it pertains to their skaters. The group of people, The group of people have been a great partner and self-police our park. I'm very thankful for this community, and I know they appreciate what we are doing for them. So that's how successful just that little downtown park has been. And the rendering that you guys made is beautiful, and it's just atrocious. And I'll keep it short, respectfully, Ms. Coburn.
No, please talk to the council in general.
I'll direct everybody. For you to say pickleball is more beneficial than a skate park, you have so many kids, and you have 150, he said, pickleballers. How many skateboarders do you think there are? Way more than that. That's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Hello, Nancy Viejo, 117 Seclusion Drive, PCB. I just want to know, with the pickleball courts that are coming, is there going to be a fee for residents to use them, especially the indoor ones that are being put down at Chip Seal Parkway?
Yeah, I don't know that yet, but I'll find out for you.
Okay, that's what I want to know. But I am a potential pickleball player. I've been trying to get beginner lessons, and that's what we didn't have here, and I support that. So,
Yep.
thanks.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Robin.
Hi, Robin.
So specifically, I believe that the would you rather have the pickleball or skateboarding came up specifically from one of your guys' emails that stated that the price tag for the skate park was outrageous and you would lean more towards pickleball. So I don't think anybody who came here today knew pickleball was still a possibility for next year. So I think that you have a large amount of skateboarders here outraged, thinking we're probably not going to get anything at all. And while we do have one at the very end, at the public sport complex, and it's an absolutely amazing park, it's beautiful. It gets very, very packed, probably around 3 p.m., 4 p.m., of course, when school's out. So then for people like me, I have 2 young children, I can't necessarily take my kids to those parks because you have people there riding their bikes, their skateboards, and frankly enough, I want to be able to give them space to do their own thing, whereas my children, I don't have to necessarily worry about their safe being. So I think one of the biggest things here at the skate park that you guys are offering for Brankville Park is how big it is. It's great for multiple different things, scooters, bikes, skateboarding, longboarding, and it definitely does comparison with the Pensacola Skate Park, which I think also did absolutely phenomenal. And I think it's also in all of your guys' benefits to reach out to Ben, the Parks and Recreation Director, who got that skate park there in Pensacola. He only has great things to say for what it brought to the community. But I think that genuinely, Frank Brown Park is a huge family place. You have multiple playgrounds that have been built there. I've lived here my whole life, so I've seen all the expansion along with the basketball court. I think adding the skate park could only boost possibly any other amenities that you've already added, because you can't go skateboarding through Frank Brown Park. All the sidewalks are closed off. There's the signs that say no skateboarding. So this would also possibly alleviate any issues that would happen with that. So people go skateboard, their kids go to the park, we could go to the pool, you have the trails in the back. And pickleball, it is absolutely amazing. I did not realize how many people actually supported the idea, but it sounds like it would definitely be more beneficial as an indoor area for classes, for shading, and then even just expanding that community center for something of that might possibly even be more in budget. You could rent it out, you could have people pay for parking if they're not residents, if the issue is price tag. But I do genuinely think that the budget, even if you wanted to downsize, make the park slightly smaller, say for Section 1, then that would even still be a great success. We don't have any parks between the very west end of the beach to the east end. The one previously that we had on the east end of the beach, past, I believe, Thomas Drive, wasn't built to last. It was made out of wood, lots of injuries happened. And I remember specifically in 2012, me and a bunch of kids were contacting Rob Daredeck to see if he would even build us a park here. And so now seeing that we might possibly get a chance at something at that size only opens up the options to possibly more events, skateboarding championships, tournaments, something that we've never even personally had here that still pushes that family fun value that I know that you guys are trying to build here on the beach. So I just really think that the skateboarding and pickleball idea could both happen, both at the same point in time. But I definitely think that skateboarding should be the top priority, at least for 2024. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm kind of on the outside looking in.
Please state your name.
My name is Captain Gary Wayne Beck.
And please keep your comments
2601 Beach
directly
Street.
to this.
I'm kind of on the outside looking in, and as I can tell about pickleball, it's generally the older people that play the pickleball. During the meantime, with our skate parks, we got to remember skating has been around for a long time, and I'm pretty sure Panama City Beach, or somebody could produce another Tony Hawk, and maybe we could even get the X Games here. But as far as the pickleballs go, I was in the council meetings time and time again where I was trying to talk about, the serial rapists that was molesting children.
Sir,
I'm just telling you.
You are out of order.
I'm not out of order.
No, you are out of order.
Excuse me,
you
don't
cannot
start
bring
me.
up stuff. You cannot bring up things outside of this agenda item. You are out of order, sir.
I'm just telling you what happened with pickleball.
Please leave.
All right. Whenever I said the guy came up and said he's here to talk about pickleball 100 times, he said it. What? I have a right to free speech. That's what you seem to forget about the Constitution and Bill of Rights.
It's repeat pattern, guys. Yeah, right. We have a right to free speech. This is how they control us, little bit by little bit.
Guys, we have to have good order here, and we try to accommodate. We try to accommodate everyone as you can tell as best as possible. But when people get disruptive, they have to leave. We want to have a good discussion with everyone here, and that just simply does not facilitate good discussion. All right, thank you.
Hello, my name is Patrick Leisner. I live at Broward Street, Panama City Beach, Florida. I want to address a couple comments that have been made about the 150 pickleball players. I think you all know it's far greater than that. That's paid members of the club. Secondly, I've heard people say it's all retirees. I'm not a retiree. I don't play with many retirees. I play in the evenings when it's much younger. I would add to that Arnold High School, Mosley High School have started clubs this year. FSU Panama City started a club this year. I played last night with a 14-year-old. Anecdotal evidence, but plenty of young people getting in the game. They need a place to learn. I'd like to see us prioritize pickleball, not eliminate a skate park. I think it should just be flipped. I think you're talking about Chips Hill Parkway. There's already a brand new skate park there. Why not focus on pickleball first at Frank Brown? That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, please. Hi, my name is Tyler Faust. I live at Half Acre Lane here in Panama City Beach, right next to Frank Brown Park. I just want to stress how urgent I feel this skate park is for our community. I've been skateboarding in this community for over 20 years, in and around the community. I've witnessed firsthand how difficult it can be as a skateboarder growing up in a place like this without proper amenities for anyone on the sport. I've been ticketed, I've been trespassed. I've been even had to appear in court before just simply for having a skateboard downtown. It's been a pretty hostile place to be a skateboarder. I'd like to see that the tides have turned a bit in recent years with skate parks popping up all around us in different cities. But now I have a 6-year-old son, and my son's starting to show an interest in skateboarding. And being so close to that Frank Brown Park would be such a good thing to keep him out of trouble, to keep him in a safe environment for skateboarding, designated to skateboarding. I just hope that everybody on the council realizes how important this skate park can be for the entire community and how long overdue it is that Panama City hasn't offered anything, any designated spots, any special parks or anything for skateboarders to go. It's still, like you see, no skateboarding signs everywhere. You will get ticketed. The cops will come. There's always going to be conflicts, but at least when the cops come and kick you out, they'll have a place to tell you to go. Whereas now, if we ask them where do we go, they can't say anywhere because we don't have any offered public places for that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to ask at most 2 more people from either side to come up, and so please make unique points, and then we can do a show of hands.
I'll put it
Okay.
for the record. Okay.
Michelle Carter, 3124 East Baldwin Road, Panama City, Florida, 32405. One of the things that we don't have here, and it would be a great thing to have at Frank Brown Park, is a YMCA. A state-of-the-art YMCA, and I'm listening to people talk about pickleball and the skateboarding, and I think maybe we could have them both, maybe. You know, there's a lot of things that we don't have on Panama City Beach. I'd like to see a lighthouse, you know, eventually come here, an iconic lighthouse.
Okay.
But what about the YMCA?
Where this is, yeah, okay, thank you.
State-of-the-art.
That one didn't count.
Okay, bad, cool. Mayor, council members, good morning.
Good morning.
How y'all doing
Morning.
this morning? My name's Gavin Chusical. I live at Breakfast Point. I'm a co-owner of Cartone Electric Speedway, and then Sunsets and Dinks, which is a pickleball apparel and event company. I'm here today to present data and facts to you, not just an emotional, this is more important than this thing. So I think I sent you guys all an email late last night, this morning. It has an attachment of kind of the trend of where pickleball is going. So I'm just going to kind of read that email to you guys. So we're here to formally request the prioritization of the construction of the pickleball courts at Frank Brown Park. So pickleball has experienced unprecedented growth, becoming the fastest growing sport in the United States for the past 3 years. It has 36.5 million players, which out of that group, 18 to 34 is the largest age bracket of those 36.5 million players. And that is in 2024 alone. It has grown 223.5% over the last 3 years, and the sport shows no signs of slowing down, boosting a projected annual growth rate of 7.7% through 2028. We all know Frank Brown Park is a beloved community hub that provides diverse recreational opportunities for residents and visitors alike. However, the current lack of pickleball courts is a significant oversight given the sport's popularity. Constructing pickleball courts would not only cater to the growing community of pickleball enthusiasts, but also attract tournaments and events that can bring economic benefits to our area, especially in the off-season. The sport's popularity spans all age groups, promoting physical fitness, social interaction, and a sense of community. As more people discover the joys of pickleball, having adequate facilities becomes a crucial to accommodate both casual players and competitive athletes. So, I have here a trending chart for the last 5 years that shows pickleball on the up, okay? Like we said, there's 36.5 million players just in the United States alone. That is not globally. So I'm here today to ask the council, based on data, based on the trend, based on the economic growth that it can bring into Panama City, to consider prioritizing pickleball. We all travel outside of our city to play tournaments, hours away. We want people to travel to us to boost our economy, to boost the local restaurants, shops, all that stuff. So I'm asking you again to prioritize the building of the pickleball courts, and then also consider a size to do the pickleball recommended court area of 34 by 64 feet at a bare minimum. The 20 by 44 or the 30 by 60 that's currently slated is just not going to be adequate to host high-level tournaments.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I appreciate your time. Thank you. Oh, no, this is mine. That's theirs.
Hello, Mayor, council members. Your role is very important in this community, so we appreciate you being here.
Could you state your name and speak
David Hayes.
into the microphone, please?
My name is David Hayes. I'm 50 years old, and I recently picked up a skateboard after putting it down for over 20 years, and it has literally helped save my life. After the pandemic, we were all going through a lot of things, and it allowed me to get my mind back in place and put physical activity back into my life. I've been a skateboarder since I was a young man. I've went through ups and downs of all kinds of being kicked out of places, and we've had to find places like old gas stations, abandoned warehouses to skate in. And through the work of people like yourselves in Panama City and out here on the beach, now we have 2 brand new skate parks, which is very exciting for a lot of people. Let me go into 1996 in the Olympics. I had a magazine up in Atlanta, Georgia, and Coca-Cola was interested in advertising in my magazine on the front cover, inside front cover. That was unprecedented back then. Now, since then, skateboarding has exploded and evolved. A new skate park and facility at Frank Brown Park would greatly improve the urban landscape with curb appeal for residents and visitors alike. It would give the youth a place to gather, build their community, and develop their skills. It would also, if managed correctly, provide new revenues from events. A new skate park has opened across in our county on the other side of the bridge, and I believe Panama City has done a really great job in putting that together in conglomeration with all the other sports that are there. Establishing a new skate park on this end of the beach gives the opportunity for the youth to find an activity that will help keep them out of trouble. Number one, when I was a youth growing up in Bay County, we found all kinds of bad things to get into, but skateboarding kept us out of trouble because that was a fun activity that we did to bide our time after school. So I believe that by providing the options for skateboarding in this beach, will bring more visitors to our area and event sponsors, which creates revenues, and give us a competitive edge for bigger things that will come. So I'm an advocate for it. So please take the time to carefully consider approving the funds for the new skate park facility in Panama City Beach. It is a good investment for the urban landscape and the community at large. It doesn't have to be one or the other. There's like a dozen pickleball courts in this area. There's condos with pickleball courts. There's new housing developments with pickleball courts. And so we have that already. What we don't have is a place for our young kids to grow and develop a skateboard.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Please, one more from each, and please make unique points. Thank you.
Council, Judd Manuel, 319 College Avenue, Panama City. I just wanted to note here regarding the urgency of the pickleball situation that the skateboard community in Bay County has been waiting decades and decades to be accommodated thoroughly and legitimized, in our community. Dave's 50, I'm pushing 40. So I know the pickleball folks would like to be bumped up ahead in line, but we've been waiting decades, and so just wanted y'all to take note of that, kind of add that to the conversation that we've waited. So
okay,
thank y'all.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you, Councilmember, Mayor. My name is Peggy Renahan. I live on Front Beach Road in Panama City Beach, Florida. And I want to address the confusion. I think the confusion is rooted in the next step that the council has to make. One is regarding location. The skateboard community already has a location. They already have an FRP. They already have some decisions made. What was advertised is that pickleball courts could possibly go in that location. Hence, some anxiety and some concern. So that's one piece of the confusion and you all do have to decide which amenity is going to go where, and some of that's related to the budget. We were informed that there's a maximum budget of $1.25 million, right? And you need an additional, for both projects, and you need an additional $1 million for the skateboarding project. So if the total budget is that, and you need an and you need an additional, then that limits the funding for either or. So that was also part of, I'm sure, the confusion from both aspects of it. So when you're looking at, I don't know if there are additional assets that can be allocated, there was mention of some potential funds that could come forward. And then the other piece was the timing. And the timing is then which one of these amenities would be done first, at which location, and for what purpose. So I think that that's why you're hearing so many passionate pleas. You were concerned and wondering about what's the confusion rooted in. So it's rooted in funding, it's rooted in location, and it's rooted in timing. And those are decisions that you all are faced with making at this time. And I'm not sure that you have all of the appropriate information that you need, especially considering there's not an FRP for the pickleball courts. And then also, as you look at what is needed for the skateboarding, are you really ready to make that kind of decision on that? So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, great. So that's it. For the folks who are here for the skate park, please just raise your hands. We got a lot of people here. All right, thank you. For the folks who are here, thank you. For the pickleball, please raise your hands. Okay, thank you. I mean, it's not either or. It's just it's a discussion of priorities. We're going to move to council discussion now. I will say personally, I really appreciated all the emails, and I tried to respond to almost every email. I definitely read all of them that I got at least through 8 p.m. last night. I didn't stay up. There were about 200 emails for the skate park. I will say a decent number of them were not residents of Panama City Beach. There was only about 25 residents of Panama City Beach. So it is an active community, and I know a lot of folks here from Panama City and broader Bay County. But we do have, it is part of our role to represent Panama City Beach. I also got a number of emails, almost all from residents from the pickleball community as well. And I absolutely understand your concern there. I know there's a lot of new pickleball capacity coming online, and we are working on it in the upcoming budget. Personally, I came in here and I was just wondering who wants this skate park. It was a legitimate question because a skate park had just opened at Public Sports Park. And I'll be honest, I went there, and I went there a couple times, and there weren't that many people there. And when I went to the pickleball courts, they're fairly packed. And so, and that's why I was wondering, I wanted community discussion here, and that's what we've had here, and I really appreciate that. I mean, I guess maybe 3 p.m. I was thinking, in the evenings. I went around 6 p.m. But I really appreciate it. I talked to the pickleballers. I talked to the skaters here. I'll say personally, I think we can try and find some funds to make sure we get the adequate pickleball courts. But I'm fine going forward with what we have with the skate park. Getting an RFP for there. It's already been kind of designed for the area. But what do other people think?
No, I was just going to say, the pickleball is in the RFP for 2025 budget. Correct?
Yeah.
Now, the RFP for that, Cheryl, in your presentation, if you don't mind, the time frame for the RFP for pickleball is 3 to 6 months?
Yeah, it can be.
Okay.
But it's in our 5-year that would be coming to you guys at budget time for approving amounts and whatnot.
The reason I ask is, can we move up the RFP to where it falls, we get that RFP, we know what numbers we're dealing with the pickleball, and immediately jump on it in 2025 budget?
Which is October. 4 months away, she mentioned that.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Is that, we would be able to do that? Because if possible, I don't want to wait till October if we're looking at an RFP that's going to take 3 to 6 months. If we can go ahead and start that process now, to when we hit that budget cycle, we know where we are, and we can pull the trigger on it if we want.
We could do the RFP. I'd still have to work with Brian Stahl on the stormwater issue over there for Site 2 that she had where the original basketball courts were going to go. That's what we would recommend to put the new
Right,
pickleball.
because we can put more in that area, correct?
And we could resurface the original basketball courts, like Cheryl said, to save some money there to transfer down to the pickleball courts. but it would all depend on our stormwater. We can work with Brian on that. We could do the RP, and then if it's approved during the budget, yes, we could act on it.
I mean, that's the route I would like to go. I'm good. We've got the RFP for this.
But I want to be clear. Site 2 is where we're proposing to put the skate park currently, right?
Site 2, yes.
Yeah, I think Site 3 is.
Yeah, Site 3 is by the hotel.
Yes, that's next to Miracle
And then
League.
you can use the parking that we just.
Yeah.
Both areas actually have recent parking, because we knew we had future intentions of Site 3, so there is a small parking lot that's already been
So that
placed
one's-
there.
We're ready to pretty much pull the trigger on that one. And the Site 3 is across the street, that open field where we're proposing to do the pickleball. We just have to do some more drainage work over there.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes.
And I'd like the RFP, and if council agrees, the RFP to make sure that we do some type of covering and
Shade and
restrooms.
lighting and.
Yeah, and pretty much what you
Yeah.
gave us. I think that totally makes sense. I thought that's what you were proposing earlier. Yeah.
Which site provides the best option for future growth? When we're talking about pickleball's growing, obviously this is going to come back to us. We want to continue to
I think
expand.
it's going to be that open field over
Me as
there
well.
than
Yeah.
it would be.
So,
Yeah, three,
Because
because
I
you've
think-
got that big area that, see what happens with it.
sure.
So how much longer is it going to be before we have that stormwater management plan for the park?
The master one's going to take a while, but we can ask Brian Stahl to focus in on that southern part where Site 3's at, to try to get something wrapped up as soon as possible for that.
Instead of doing the whole plan, just do a specific one. For
This
Right. I like
specific
that
area.
Yes,
Okay.
I like that a lot.
Of course, we know government's slow. You guys keep telling me that. So let's see if we can't light a fire under both.
Run around with cattle prods.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
So, yeah, I'm fine going forward with the RFP and making sure we have the drainage plan, and then going forward with the RFP for the skate park.
okay.
Yep,
I love
All
it.
right.
that's good.
Need to know of.
You mean the RFP for the pickleball?
Yeah, the pickleball and this.
And
Well, I'm okay going ahead with the RFP for the skate park.
Yeah.
And starting the RFP
Yeah,
for
and
the
starting-
pickleball
Yeah.
early.
Yeah.
We've already done the
We've
RP.
already done the
Oh, so the RSP, okay.
RP's done
Okay.
on the skate
Well, you
park.
know what-
Okay, I thought that was a rough
Direction-
design. Yeah.
And we,
I just need direction if you want me to do the 1.4 on the skate park.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's fine with me.
absolutely.
Now,
vote on that one.
And we,
Maybe Cheryl can answer this, if somebody here. We started out going to do a beginner skate park there because they got us a world-class one down at the public sports park. Very nice. I've been down there too. And I used to skateboard, and I have played pickleball, so I'm familiar with both of them, and I'm for both of these projects. I think they're both needed in our community. But it's grown from 400,000 to this 1.4 million. What I don't want to have happen is have two skate parks just for the elitists and not for the little guys, because you got one
Yeah.
world-class one down there for the, so.
So this firm, we selected the firm through an evaluation committee, and one of the things that we really liked about them is when they're given the approval of the design budget that they can work with, their first task is going to be community involvement and staff involvement. And talk with the community, have meetings, and determine exactly what those needs are. And I've heard that lots of times too, that one of the top choices with them was their community involvement in prior projects.
Okay.
So the rendering that we're seeing today may not be what is actually built.
Right.
but it's been designed to a $1.4 million budget. That's what you can get for 1.4, correct?
Yes. All right. I think the council agrees that we want something that is going, like, the one at the east side in the public sportsplex is a competition skate park. And what we want here at Frank Brown is something for beginner and intermediate.
Yeah, that's entirely how this one was pitched. I mean, the fact, I went there several times to the public sports park, and in fact, the skating community is quite innovative. They've started to bring their own rails and stuff there to try and make it more beginner focused. We don't need them to have to do that at this one. Let's make sure we're addressing the need there rather than just doing multiple. I know competition was mentioned a few times here, but we do have that one at Public, so like, let's get this one as a beginner one.
All right.
I think Jim Frost made a good point of having training facilities for pickleball. I think you need the same thing with you guys teaching younger kids. I got 6 and 8 year old girls. Maybe they want to get into it, and I'd love for people in the community to have some outreach and teach them to get into skating as well. So I'd like to see that happen also. I want everybody to win. I want more pickleball. My 6 and 8 year olds play pickleball with their grandparents, so that's a big thing for me. Like, I don't. But they also skated all night last night at Rocket Lane. So.
It's just a timing and an ordering thing. Exactly. So, yeah, but I think we're clear in terms of going forward with the 1.4 and then going forward with the RFP for the pickleball.
Absolutely.
All right. Two things real quick. Thank you. I realized I missed having Mr. Whitman address the public comments. If we can do that, and then I wanted to take a 5-minute break. Recess so that we can, anyone who wants to leave after that can leave, and we can also just get out of these chairs for a few minutes. But Mr. Whitman, please address the...
Mayor, I think the council has...
Oh,
if you can I have a motion on this?
Yeah.
So we can move on.
Can I get a motion?
So moved to go ahead with the skate park RFP and to start the RFP early for...
And let me clarify, the next step in this process is to actually approve the design and construction contract.
Okay.
We have that already. We were waiting on this
okay.
section to bring that to you, so at the next meeting, you'll have that contract.
Okay.
If you vote to move forward on that.
Okay. So the motion is to move forward with the design contract and to start early the RFP for the pickleball courts in Site 3.
Second.
Thank you.
Ms. Fazzoni, please call roll.
Vice Mayor Jarman?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Casto?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Coburn?
Yes.
Councilman Register?
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Teddemer?
Yes, ma'am. And thank everyone for their respectful public advocacy and for reaching out. We really appreciate all the comments and really appreciate you. I know it's early morning and you listen to a lot of stuff before this, but we really appreciate it. Mr. Whitman, if you would address the other public comments.
Trying to test my memory an hour and a
I
half.
know. Something happened. You got a little raucous there.
No, you're fine. I'll start off with, we had 13 people make comments. I'll start off with Bill. Yes, we're going to look at coming from Front Beach all the way to Back Beach in 2031. That was always part of the design. We lifted the northern part from Middle Beach to Back Beach under some safety money and a grant just to get that out of the flood zone temporary instead of waiting 7 more years to get to that. As far as Mary goes, there is no plans to subsidize those businesses that were hurt by the impact. We put signage up during the construction phase so people could still get to their businesses. I won't make a comment about the TDC appointment because that's done at the dais, so you guys already approved that.
Excuse me, could you slow down just a little bit?
Yes, ma'am.
So we can understand you better?
Would you like me to start over?
No.
Okay. Number 3, Mr. Rex, that was all done on the dais on the TDC and TPO, so I have no comment to that. Don, he basically gave a report card on the CRA, the parking and the CRA funding. I don't think there was a question in that. We are still working on our parking and mobility study, so we'll have more information on what we can do in the parking in the future. Scott brought up the traffic lights. That is on Back Beach Road itself, that is controlled by the county, but right now with it under construction, the traffic light timing has been turned over to the contractors between Back Beach and Mandy all the way to Back Beach and Nautilus, so they control the timing on that. Once that's turned back over to the state, the county will pick that back up with their system that's ran out of the not the EOC building, but the government building downtown. 6 was Molly. Molly, I have the majority of your answers. I'll get with you after the meeting and share those with you. If you can wait a minute, I'll help you with that. Ms. Elmore, hers was all public comment. There was no question in that. Sandra, she had a few questions. The runoff, I'll get with Parks, but stormwater on that. We just went through the Colony Club. There's a lot of swells where we're trying to get that water out there. If she's living on the north side, that's the lowest water table we have. So I can address that with her. She can hang after the meeting. I can talk to her about that. The traffic lights, I discussed that already. That's controlled by the contractors right now in that area of Back Beach and Nautilus. The red lanes of CRA, those are something that once the entire project's done, the council will make a decision on what they want to do with that. As far as the fees at the restaurants, in reference to the added fees that some of these places are doing, that's something that we've already directed legal to look at to try to work on something. to try to prevent that, where they either had to do some better posting under state law, explain why they're doing the fees. So that is something that we've been asked to address, so we're working on that. So we got a plan of action that I'll bring it back before the council, or the legal team will. The county pier, as far as paid parking, the city has no control over that. I'd recommend that she talks to the county in reference to the handicap parking there, or not charging the residents. And as far as giving money to these different groups that come in for events, that's all through TDC. The city does not provide any funding for any special event that comes into our city limits unless we're a sponsor of it, like the 4th of July, New Year's Eve, or like the air show we just did. Michelle was complete, hers was a statement. Mr. Beck, I can't help him with his Astro Defense or any of those other ones, and I've referred him to the sheriff's office several times. I'm sure if he contacts them, they will help him out. Elfie, as far as the noise enforcement, our ordinance is wrote as it's got to be a complaint driven. So if he has a loud noise in that area, if he can call the police department, we have 10 certified sound readers that are certified to measure the sound, and if someone's violating, we can issue them a citation. So I'd recommend anyone that has an issue with noise, please call the police department so they can get a sound reader out there to measure it, to see if it's how far it is above ambient. The Arts Council, we're all for that. We just need more people to step up on that. That was under Alfie as well. And the sound system you guys addressed during your presentation with Chief Ray, that he brought up about the warning system. Aaron, his basically was a statement. And Mr. Peter Fischetti, he was talking about the planning board. That was already discussed at your guys' level, so I have no comment on that one. And Mr. Garrison, I'm not familiar with the law he's referring to. I believe I'd have to research. I haven't looked at that law yet, so I'll have to look at that. But we do have a business impact for any ordinance that we pass, so we do address that, and legal does a very good job at putting it as whereas is at the beginning of our ordinance of why we're doing this and how it solves an issue. But we do a business impact, and that answers all 13 of the comments that were addressed.
Good job. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Whitman. Can we move for a 5-minute recess? Yep.
Sure. Absolutely.
Let's do it. All right, we'll be back here at 11:27.
I know. I never heard of it. Never heard of it. He's the one that arrested me.
Oh my gosh. Call this meeting to order. I would like to move the number 7 up first because we have a member of staff who needs to catch a plane. Is that okay with everyone?
Oh, yeah. Let's do it.
Okay. At number 7, Resolution 24134. Ms. Fazzoni, could you read or Mr. Davis, can you read?
I got you. A resolution of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, approving a task order with McKimmon Creed, Inc. for engineering services required for the preparation of an asset management plan for the city's wastewater collection and transmission system in the amount of $276,604.
Okay. Mr. Schaefer, can you come up and speak to this issue? Thank you, Mr. Davis.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, for accommodating me and moving that forward. As I mentioned in our last meeting, I brought before you the asset management plan proposal for evaluating our wastewater treatment facility. This is the sister project I mentioned during that presentation for evaluating our wastewater collection and transmission systems. We have nearly 170 lift stations or sewage pump stations in our system and untold miles of transmission line and sewer collection system. This is the same type of approach that we're using for the wastewater plant. They're going to be doing an assessment of the condition of those assets, looking out on a 40-year window and giving us recommendations for remaining service life, replacement periods, and budgetary allowances to provide for those.
Okay. Any questions?
No, sir. What's the lifespan of most of those pipes in the wastewater system?
Depends on the pipe and the service. If it's a ductile iron pipe, for instance, in a force main condition, which is handling sewage, the sewage evolves gases and that can corrode a ductile iron pipe. If it's plastic,
Some areas
it's
are going to
unlimited.
be worse than others. Some areas are going to be a lot worse than others where you have
That's correct.
hydrogen sulfide, so you can't put a number of years on it, any of it really.
Yeah, generally it would be in the older sections of our system. We haven't used ductile iron on force main.
So that's basically what you're looking for is the areas that really need to be replaced before they be proactive and replace those lines that you're starting to have problems with. Yeah.
And then they're prioritized based upon how critical they are to continued operation too. So if it's a major transmission line, that one obviously is going to be much higher than one that serves a small subdivision or something like that.
Good idea.
Yeah, it's a great idea. Any further?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Fazzoni, please call roll.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mark.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, next, finally to number 1. Is an ordinance 1642. Mr. Davis, can you please read
An
the
ordinance of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 16 of the city's Code of Ordinances related to noise control to correct a Scrivener's error, providing for severability, Scrivener's errors, liberal interpretation, modifications, inclusion in the Code of Ordinances, and providing an effective date?
Could you just give me a brief overview?
Absolutely. So this is just housekeeping. There is one letter change in the ordinance, just like we talked about at your last meeting. This corrects a defect in the impoundment enforcement section to allow for vehicles that are violating the noise ordinance to be impounded as part of their enforcement. This error has been, it's just a typo in the ordinance that has been there since it was originally passed, and so we're finally fixing it.
Okay. Motion? What's that?
Are there public comments?
Is there any public comment for this item?
Charles Nelson, 221 Summer Breeze Road. Thank you for addressing this issue. I can tell you that if you're in our parking lot on Back Beach Road, it is not uncommon for extremely loud vehicles to be there. It's one thing if you're going 45 miles an hour and passing, and that's okay. But when you're in traffic and these things are, and you're next to one or two of these and they're pounding away at you, I appreciate any kind of work that the police department could do to enhance the effectiveness of this ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rennes.
Thank you.
Okay. Any more public comment? Any discussion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Vizzoni, please call roll.
Vice Mayor Jarman.
Yes, ma'am.
Passo.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Coburn.
Yes.
Councilman Register.
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Teddemer.
Yes, ma'am. Next is ordinance 1643. Mr. Davis?
An ordinance of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 2 of the city's Code of Ordinances related to off-duty employment, repealing the prohibition on police and fire employees engaging in off-duty employment on special events, requiring off-duty employers to reimburse the city for equipment and vehicle expenses used for law enforcement off-duty employment, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict, providing for codification, providing for severability, and providing an immediately effective date. This is the second reading of the ordinance you saw last meeting, which goes along with the agreement that you entered into with Off-Duty Management, Inc., which takes the off-duty employment of your police and fire workers onto a different kind of independent contracting system. And so this ordinance simply just makes our Code of Ordinances consistent with that agreement. So it's primarily housekeeping.
Thank you, sir. Is there any public comment? Any discussion from council?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Vizzoni, please call roll.
Vice Mayor Jarman.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Casto.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Coburn.
Yes.
Councilman Register.
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Teddemer.
Yes, ma'am. Next is ordinance, item 3, ordinance 1644. Mr. Davis.
An ordinance of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 7 related to beach commerce, clarifying the requirements of delivery beach chair service, providing for penalties for fraudulently obtaining a permit required by the city's Code of Ordinances, providing for severability, scrivener's errors, liberal interpretation, modifications, inclusion in the Code of Ordinances, and providing an effective date. This makes amendments to the delivery beach chair services that were first allowed last year by the prior council's ordinance to allow for the upland owner's permission to be essentially by email, and then requires that any delivery chair or umbrella that is provided by one of those services have the service's name, telephone number, and permit number printed on either the chair or umbrella in clearly legible print, and then makes it so that if that email that the upland owner sends or any other information is provided that is fraudulently obtained, it allows for the city's hearing officer to suspend that business's permit for conducting beach service. So it's a carrot and stick approach to make it a little bit more lenient on the front end, but the penalty is greater on the back end.
Okay. Do we have public comment on this item?
I'll try this again.
Yeah. Oh man, we really made you wait. Huh?
You have a very captive audience.
I'm not here for skateboarding, but I do appreciate you guys for allowing me to
please state your name,
speak.
ma'am.
J.C. Elmore.
Thank you.
I am here to address ordinance 1644. I started a business last year to where I own the Beach Wagon, and we deliver complete beach package setups to vacationers. We deliver directly to their rental units, so we do not deliver on the beach. I came up with the idea after I found out the number of single-use beach chairs that are bought and then trashed when people leave, and I am very passionate about trying to save the landfills and our waters, and if there's something that I can do to prevent that, that is amazing. I do not wish to take away from beach services. My target market is definitely just the people who are going and buying a chair and then leaving it behind. With the ordinance, it does not clarify that it is only on the sandy beach. I do not want to violate anything, and so I am asking for you to address that and make sure that, I know that I've been told that it's intended to be for the sandy beach, but I would like for that clarification to be put in there so that there are not, I am a rule follower, so.
Yeah.
Thank you again. We all live here in Paradise. Our goals are to support our families, ourselves, to make our community the very best that it can be, and I appreciate your time.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mr. Davis, can you speak to that?
Yeah, I'm happy to. Ms. Elmore indicated that she delivers to the rental unit, not to the sand. This ordinance does not regulate her at all. Chapter 7 regulates activities on the beach sand, and the ordinance itself is only a snippet of that overall code. But if you look at the definitions of beach commerce and beach services, that clues you in, and there's multiple citations in the entire Chapter 7 indicate what we're regulating here. For the purposes of this particular ordinance, we're only changing the piece on delivery beach chair services where you're delivering onto the sand. If you are not engaged in commerce on the actual sand itself, Chapter 7 essentially does not apply to you, so it would not impact your business at all.
Our jurisdiction does not extend beyond the sand
The jurisdiction
with
of
this
code
ordinance.
is correct.
Yes.
Right. I mean, this fall under the same thing if you had ship, deliver, target to your
Correct. If
condo.
you're delivering a beach chair to a rental unit and delivering a pizza to a rental unit, are the same thing.
Same deal. Okay, great.
Okay. Any discussion?
Motion approved.
Second.
Ms. Mazzoni, please call roll.
Vice Mayor Jarman,
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Casto,
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Coburn,
Yes.
Councilman Register,
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Tettemer.
Yes, ma'am. Next is item 4, a large conditional use request located at 8.12 acres at Beach Park Trail. Public hearing. This is a quasi-judicial hearing. This is a hearing to consider approval of a large conditional use application from Express Materials LLC, Section 506.01 of the city's Land Development Code. This is a quasi-judicial hearing governed by the city's Land Development Code. This hearing is based on the recommendation of the Planning Board's approval. Members of the council have been provided a copy of that order for our review. We will now begin the hearing. Will all persons wishing to speak during this hearing please rise to be sworn in?
Do you swear or affirm that the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Okay. Mr. Leonard. Were the notice requirements met for this hearing?
Yes, Mayor, they were.
Okay, thank you. At this time, we will ask for each council member or member of the council to make their Jennings disclosures. Ms. Fazzoni?
Vice Mayor Jarman,
Nothing to disclose.
Councilman Casto,
Yes, Mayor, I'm going to have to, I have a conflict. I need to recuse myself from this. My daughter is in the real estate business. She had his property listed at one time, so according to our counselor, I probably should abstain from voting.
Wrong one.
What's that?
I think that's the wrong property.
This is the Commerce
The
Park.
concrete mixed plant.
This is the concrete.
No, Lord.
Yeah,
Well, I'll give you that speech again.
Uh-oh, we're ready for it. All right.
Do you have any Jennings disclosures?
Yeah, Jennings disclosure.
anything?
Know where the property's at. I haven't had any discussion with anybody about it.
Councilmember Coburn,
I've been by the property, and I was at the Planning Commission when it was approved.
Councilman Register,
I've been by the property, and I was on the Planning Commission when it was approved.
and Mayor Tettemer.
I've been by the property.
Thank you.
At this time, we will hear staff's report. Mr. Leonard? You sat closer this time.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is a large conditional use which is over 3 acres in size and is considered by the Planning Board and the City Council. If it was smaller than this, then it would only have to get approval by the Planning Board. Since it is over 3 acres, it does come to the City Council for final decision. The applicant must demonstrate compliance with the general requirements for the conditional uses as well as the specific requirements that are specific just to this proposed use as a concrete plant, as they're described in the Land Development Code. The applicant has requested approval for a concrete plant on the 8.12 acres at Beach Park Trail in the Commerce Park, and the Planning Board recommended approval unanimously at their April 10th, 2024 meeting. And that is it.
Okay. Thank you, sir. At this time, we will hear from the applicant.
Good morning. Jim Dombrowski, Height Design, 2211 State Road 77, Lynn Haven. We're the engineers of the project and I'm here to speak for the applicant. We agree with all the staff members' comments, and we've adhered to all the code. And I'm here to answer questions, and I'll go through the slideshow if you'd like.
Yeah, just run through
Okay. As you can see, that is not actually the picture of the plant. It's something we pulled off the internet because, of course, it's not built yet. Sorry. Zoning M1, light industrial. We're going to be plus or minus 15 employees. The maximum height is proposed at 30 foot. Minimum lot area, and this is all reading off y'all's code, so sorry if I'm just stating facts. 6,000 square foot minimum lot area, lot width minimum is 60 foot, max impervious is 70%. Setbacks 25 on the front, 5 on the side, and 5 in the rear. All the parking will be on site, nothing will be parked in the cul-de-sac area. The approximate hours of operation, 5:30 in the morning till 3:30 in the afternoon, Saturday and Sunday by appointment. Now, the hours may flex a little bit depending on, I think most of y'all know, with all the construction, the plant may start maybe a little earlier, maybe a little late. It just depends on delivery of the trucks. The buffers, we adhere to all the code as written. Trip traffic, we're anticipating 40 to 50 trucks max, even in the height of period as the plant's running roughly 100 yards a day, 100 yards of concrete, sorry.
40 to 50 trucks max per day? Okay.
Yes, sir. They anticipate, they don't expect that right away, maybe a couple years down the line,
Okay.
when growth really gets crazy. And I don't know about y'all, but I moved up here a few years ago, and I've seen a lot of growth in 4 years, so I know y'all have seen it also.
Yes, sir.
The site is on the end of the cul-de-sac for Beach Park Trail, sorry, I always confuse that one. This is the aerial of the site. It's mainly pine tree wooded, and to the north and west is pretty much wetlands, pretty much on the east side. Power line is on the south side. It's a 100-foot easement of the power line. The future land use is industrial, residential. I'm sorry, it's zoned properly. I don't know why that map shows the residential though. Sorry about that. That's the zoning of M1, like I said earlier. This is the concept of the concrete plant. The northern side is anticipated where the trucks will come in and dispatch into the plant or dump material. The south entrance is more for the parking. I'm sorry, this is the old site plan. It's actually reversed now in the new site plan, but it's basically the same kind of layout. The plant doesn't move, it's just the way the operations work. Sorry, the operation of the plant works is the employees will come in on the north and the trucks will come in on the south.
Yeah.
And that's all of it. And I'm here to answer any questions.
Okay. Any questions? No?
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. At this time, we will hear from any affected parties who wish to speak. Please come up and state your name and address for the record. Any affected parties? At this time, we will take public comment. Any public comment? At this time, we will hear any rebuttal by staff, any affected party, or the applicant. Hearing none. At this time, we will close the evidentiary portion of this hearing. Mr. Davis, did you want to include materials?
Yes, thank you so much. I would ask that you include all of the materials in your agenda packet as evidence in the record of the hearing.
That's fine with me.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yep. Yes.
Okay. At this time, we will hear closing arguments by staff, then the applicant.
Mayor and Council, I'll just reiterate that the staff report was supportive of the request, and the Planning Board unanimously recommended approval to you as well.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We have no comments.
Okay, thank you. At this time, we will move to council discussion. I think the only thing I have is that there is the R1A at the corner of it, but that seems to be taken care of by the existing plan. Anything else?
Yeah.
No.
No, that's good.
Okay. Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Vizzoni, please call roll.
Vice Mayor Jarman,
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Casto,
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Coburn,
Yes.
Councilman Register,
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Tettemer.
Yes, ma'am.
And just for clarification for the council, we will prepare a order from the council for the mayor to sign that just reflects your decision today.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is ordinance 1645, small-scale future land use map amendment located at 206 North Arnold Road, first reading, public hearing. This is also a quasi-judicial hearing.
Mayor, may I read the title?
Yes, please do.
An ordinance amending Ordinance 1688, known as the 2021 amended and restated City of Panama City Beach Growth Development Plan, acting upon the application of Sarah Bonakhtar to change the future land use designation of a parcel of land from single-family residential to tourist, designating for tourist land use a certain parcel of land lying within the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, consisting of approximately .203 acres. Said parcel located at 206 North Arnold Road, parcel ID 32920-000-000, as more particularly described in the body of the ordinance, amending the city's future land use map to designate the parcels for tourist land use, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict, providing for severability, scrivener's errors, liberal interpretation, modifications, codification, and providing that the ordinance shall take effect as provided by law.
Okay. This is a hearing to consider denial of a small-scale future land use map amendment request from the Sandra Bonacher, Section 10.07.00 of the city's Land Development Code. This is a quasi-judicial hearing governed by the city's Land Development Code. This hearing is based on the recommendation of the Planning Board's denial. Members of the council have been provided a copy of that order for our review. We will now begin the hearing. Will all persons wishing to speak during this hearing please rise to be sworn in?
Do you swear or affirm that the evidence you are
Please
about
rise.
to give, thank you, will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Okay. Mr. Leonard? Mr. Leonard, were the notice requirements met for this hearing?
Yes, sir, they were.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
At this time, we will ask for each member of the council to make their Jennings disclosures. Ms. Vizzoni?
Councilman Jarman,
Nothing to disclose.
Councilman Casto,
This is where I have a conflict. I need to recuse myself. My daughter in the real estate business, she had this property listed at one time, so.
Councilmember Coburn,
Yes, I spoke with the applicant 2 years ago, about the same time she purchased the property, and I was at the Planning Commission and met her representative there.
Councilman Register,
I've been by the property and was on the Planning Commission when this came in front of us.
and Mayor Tettemer.
I've been by the property.
And could I ask Ms. Coburn a question?
Mr. Davis?
Ms. Coburn, as far as your, your ex parte communications with any parties involved, did you promise your vote at any point?
No.
Okay. Are you able to make a decision based on the evidence that you hear today?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. At this time, we will hear staff's report. Mr. Leonard?
Thank you again. This request actually has two parts to it. The first part is the ordinance that we're considering right now for the large scale, or the small scale plan amendment. This is at 206 North Arnold Road. This is the future land use map amendment request for .203 acres from single family residential to tourist. The rezoning would only be heard if the comp plan amendment request portion of this is approved. If not, then the zoning request portion of it would be meaningless. The planning board recommended denial of this by a 4-3 vote at the April 10th, 2024 meeting. And that was based upon, mostly on a thought that it could potentially be spot zoning. This is the future land use map designation for it, showing the yellow is single family residential. The red is a tourist designation. There's the aerial for it. Now the zoning portion of it we may talk about in just in a moment. But as I mentioned, that the planning board recommendation was for denial 4-3 based upon spot zoning. And just for some background, spot zoning is the arbitrary and unreasonable treatment of an individual parcel that benefits the owner without sufficient justification. The 3 residential parcels in this area are the only ones restricted to single-family residential use and fronting on State Road 79. A rezoning or a comp plan amendment to a non-residential use appears to be consistent with other similarly situated properties in this area, which would be an indication spot zoning would not exist. And just as, excuse me, as background on that, in this area, there's 31 parcels that have the tourist designation or also the CH zoning designation associated with it. That totals a little over 10 acres. The 3 single-family residential properties are a little over a half acre. There's a PUD portion just north of this, that's another 2.3 acres, which is also non-residential. And it appears, looking at the zoning maps from earlier, in 1977, when this was the city first had a zoning map. That's the first time we ever had zoning. This was a BA zoning, a tourist business zoning. And it appeared that it changed in 1983 to allow for a single-family home to be built, because the zoning at the time didn't allow for single-family residential. So that appears that might be why the change occurred. And so that's what's before you now.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it for the plan amendment portion of it.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
At this time, we will hear from the applicant.
My name is Sarah, and first I want to excuse my English because my
Can you
English
state
is not
your full
good
name?
as other people in this room, but
Ma'am,
I try my
could
best.
you state your full name?
Sarah Bonector.
Thank you.
So I have owned this property 206 Arnold, North Arnold, for 3 years now almost, and we cannot find the actual use for it. I have tried to do my business as a beauty salon owner, and I couldn't find the right business over there, what to do, like permanent makeup or like doing a spa, because it's not quiet and we cannot have a sign over there. And I have tried to sell it, but still I couldn't sell it as well. So we cannot find the actual use for this property, and I have tried my best for almost 3 years now. So I appreciate if you take this in your consideration, that we have to find the actual use for this property. And this is, Panama City has been my home for my family for almost 11 years, and this is the only asset I have. I'm growing my 2 girls, like as a single mom, and I really need to, find out what to do with this property.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, we will hear from any affected party who wishes to speak. Please come up and state your name and address for the record.
Hello, my name's Christine McLaughlin, and I live at 250 Escanaba, which is the property contiguous in the residential side of it. One question I would have is the house that is my next door neighbor on the corner, its driveway is on Escanaba, and you know how once something isn't, once it's contiguous, the next lot will change and the next lot will change, and I was will that also become candidate to be commercial, and the limitations on what could go in there just to protect myself on my right-hand side of the lot. I think right now you can run a small business, but you actually have to live on the property. I'm pretty sure that's how it runs, so I don't know if that would work for someone or not, but I just want to make sure that, if it starts rolling down the lane, what are my neighbors going to be able to run out of there too? Because that's a little bit bigger lot. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we will take public comment. Any public comment? At this time, we'll hear any rebuttal by staff, any affected party, or the applicant. Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to say one thing, and Ms. McLaughlin's question about what would happen at the corner property, and, we don't have an application in front of us, so I don't want to say anything definitive, but I would say that that corner already being developed for residential and facing internal to the subdivision probably wouldn't have the same circumstances surrounding it that this one does, or the vacant lot next to it, that front on 79 and only front on 79. So I'm not as comfortable saying that that corner lot would ever be anything other than residential. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any further rebuttal? At this time, we will close the evidentiary portion of the hearing. Mr. Davis, would you like to include materials?
Yes, sir. If you could include all the information in your agenda packet, as well as the PowerPoint slide that Mr. Leonard showed as evidence in the hearing, I would appreciate that.
Sounds good. Okay. At this time, we will hear closing arguments by staff, then the applicant.
I would just quickly reiterate that staff wrote a staff report in favor of the rezoning request. Staff didn't feel like it was indicative of spot zoning, that if anything, leaving these two properties, which we're only considering one now, but if the vacant one to the south of it ever came in and did the same request, staff would probably look at it the same. And I did also want to mention that that neighbor who has the vacant lot adjacent to this did write a letter in support that came in after the planning board meeting. They didn't have the benefit of knowing that at the planning board. But staff didn't feel like it was an indication of spot zoning, that if anything, leaving the current zoning residential when so many other properties similarly situated have the tourist designation associated with it. So staff was in favor of it. That's all.
Question, clarification. Can we consider that letter that came in?
It would need to be here and presented to you, but certainly. As long as it's presented as evidence, you're allowed to consider hearsay if you consider it to be accurate and reliable. I haven't seen the letter. I don't know.
Yeah, do you have that letter?
Stick it in the box, give it to the clerk.
I mean, I would probably read it into the record.
Okay. Dear Councilman, Council members, Mayor, and Vice Mayor of Panama City Beach, I, Geraldine Tinkler, am the current owner of 204 North Arnold, Panama City Beach, Florida, 32413. I'm writing you today regarding my next-door neighbors, 206 North Arnold Road, Panama City Beach, Florida, 32413. Current request to rezone their property from residential to commercial low intensity. I'm in full support of this request due to the ever-increasing traffic flow on Highway 79 and the current zoning categories of the other properties along this corridor. Thank you, Geraldine Tinkler.
Okay. Thank you.
That's the vacant lot?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's closing argument by staff. The applicant, to have any closing arguments?
I just want to say that my neighbor's concern is my concern too. I really care for them. If anything I need to do, we will do that. I mean, I just, want to have a perfect usage of this property. So that's it. I mean, if you have any question, I'm available.
Okay. At this time, we will move to council discussion. So,
I'd like to make a motion then, if there's no discussion.
Well, I mean, the only question I have, did the owner of the empty lot, he didn't say whether, I just don't want to put us in a situation where we've got that residential on the end, and then it keeps creeping closer to that residential house. Unless, I'd like, all three, but.
I agree. I would like all three. All three make sense. And question for you, Mel, is why CL versus CH when CH is kind of, obviously it's the right zoning for that corridor, right? And everything leading up to it is CH, is my understanding. Why CL for this one next to the PUD? And I'd love to approve it. It's the right thing to do to approve it, in my opinion. But also, when you talk about staff's recommendation, did that include legal's interpretation of whether this is spot zoning or not?
No, it didn't. And the CL designation was recommended by staff, and the applicant agreed to that because the CL is the lowest intensity commercial category you can have. It has the least amount of uses. The height's limited to 35 feet. If it was to go to a CH, of course, we're still talking about the comp plan amendment at this agenda item, but the zoning portion of it, if it went to CH, would be 65 feet. So to summarize, it would be compatibility with the neighborhood and the resident you just heard from. CL was the most minimal impact that it could have on that anybody that was around it.
So if we go CL here, the vacant lot owner south of that, what if they want to come in and be CH? And right next
Staff would recommend CL for the vacant lot.
Okay.
And staff wouldn't recommend that the corner house change at all.
The corner house, could they, I know it, right now, well, I don't know how much we can discuss that, but stop me if you need to. But the corner house with the driveway going on to Escanaba, if that's changed to CH, if they redevelop that lot, they can make the access onto 79, could they not?
Well, they probably couldn't because they would be allowed, because across from them is vacant CH, so they would be able to still have a driveway there on Escanaba. But we wouldn't, and then any driveway into that place would be a little too close to Escanaba anyway. But staff wouldn't be supporting of the house converting to any other non-residential category anyway.
The house on the corner would not be.
Right.
You would not be in favor of that?
No.
And why?
It's already developed for residential, and
Okay.
it's more internal to the neighborhood. It wouldn't be just affecting one residential property. It's closer to more of them. And they would be able to have a commercial driveway onto Escanaba, which will be a whole new thing.
Right.
It plows new ground that I think has some compatibility issues with the neighborhood.
Can you pull up the map, the zoning map that you showed?
Yeah,
Sure. Can you pull that back up? IT, thank you.
I will say, if, looks like it's creating a spot to me, if we're going to have that thumb sticking out.
I would love to see it all three just go all the way and be contiguous with what we have. And to me, that's one of the recommendations from staff a lot of times is to keep things contiguous, correct?
It is, just the owner of the vacant lot is not prepared to do anything yet, but it'd be like a phased request. If they ever did want to come in, they would certainly, you don't know the circumstances at the time and the rules in the place and all that at the time, but they certainly would have whatever happens with this lot as a basis for whatever the request would be.
My concern is we open a lot of other applicants to look at this and use this as leverage. And I'm not sure that, to me, it should be zoned. It was zoned improperly to begin with, I think, personally, all the way across. And we talk about the lot on the corner. They have the most street frontage there is out of all three of them on South Arnold.
And could you just help me understand what can go in a CL?
Let me get my.
So, we're in the discussion portion, so, we'd have CH on one side, CH on another side, one CL, and then two residential. That's what we're deciding right now.
So say that again. I'm sorry. You got CH on one side. You got PUD.
Yeah.
Yep.
CH.
Yep.
CH.
Correct.
And then residential.
Residential.
And then CL.
Yep. Two residentials.
Two residentials and a CL. It's starting to look like a mosaic.
And that's a buffer zone with the PUD?
It's master planned as open space adjacent to that property right now.
Okay. It's another reason I really would love to see all three do it because it's a buffer zone. It's not going to, I don't see that affecting the PUD, the master plan. But the concern is still spot zoning. And
you can do a bed and breakfast, a medical office. You can do one dwelling unit on it. foster care facility, but you can also do that in an R1B, so that wouldn't change anything as far as that's allowed. A government building would be allowed.
Well, is there a business operated out of there right now as we speak?
Out of that house? I'm not sure.
When I Google the address to look at it, to drive by, it pops up as a business being operated there already.
And it may very well be. You can do a home-based business out of there right now, but there's limitations associated with it.
Yeah, Barks Baths and Beyond, PCB 206, Arnold Road.
Oh, that's South Arnold.
That's South Arnold, okay, so I'm on the wrong thing?
Yeah, you need to go North Arnold.
North Arnold, I'm sorry. Okay, just want to make sure that I'm on the right track. I apologize, yes.
So anything else can be
Office. Personal services, which is a hair salon, massage, stretching studio, print shop, religious use, small computer repair, and one transient residential rental.
Okay.
That'd be it.
Council have any further discussion?
There's no appetite for, or letters from the corner lot, right? No saying one way or the other, right? Okay.
That's it. Let's get a motion. Vice Mayor, do you want to?
Before, let me clarify something really quickly. So this vote is only for the future land use map. You will need to make, regardless of, depending on how this vote goes, we will need to have another consideration of the rezoning itself. So right now, your vote is just to whether to designate it from single family to tourist. The CL discussion is after this vote.
Okay, so this is single family to tourist.
From the comp plan amendment.
From the comp plan amendment. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
I motion to keep with what the planning board decided.
Is there a second?
A second.
And to clarify, you mean to deny?
To deny.
Ms. Fazzoni, please call roll.
Councilman Jarman?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Casto has abstained. Councilmember Coburn?
No.
Councilman Register?
Yes, ma'am.
And Mayor Tedber?
Yes, ma'am. Okay. So next is ordinance 1646, rezoning request for property located at 206 North Arnold Road. First reading, public hearing. This is a quasi-judicial hearing. This is a hearing.
Mayor, may I read the title real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
An ordinance rezoning from single-family residential R1B to commercial low-intensity CL, that certain parcel of land lying within the city of Panama City Beach, Florida, containing approximately .203 acres, located at 206 North Arnold Road, parcel ID 32920-000-000, as more particularly described in the body of the ordinance, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict, providing for severability, Scrivener's errors, liberal interpretation, modifications, codification, and providing an effective date.
Okay. This is a hearing to consider denial of a rezoning request from the Sarah Boddicker, section 10.07.00 of the city's land development code. This is a quasi-judicial hearing governed by the city's land development code. This hearing is based on the recommendation of the planning board's denial. Members of the council have been provided a copy of that order for our review.
And Mayor and Council, just so you understand, by denying the future land use map comp plan amendment, your hands are somewhat tied on the rezoning. I would ask that you go ahead and hold the hearing. I would ask that you enter into the record of that hearing all of the testimony and evidence you received in the prior hearing, but ultimately your decision is, your hands are tied to essentially deny the rezoning, because rezoning would be inconsistent with the comp plan, given your just prior vote. So I would ask that you go ahead, into the evidence that you just heard in the prior hearing, hold another hearing to entertain any new evidence that may have come up since the last hearing, and then my recommendation will be that you vote to deny the rezoning based on your prior vote.
Okay, can we enter into evidence the last hearing?
Yep. Yes.
All right, we will now begin the hearing. Will all persons wishing to speak during this hearing please rise to be sworn in? Ms. Fazzoni?
Do you swear or affirm that the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Okay. Mr. Leonard, were the notice requirements met for this hearing?
Yes, they were.
Thank you. At this time, we will ask for each member of the council to make their Jennings disclosures.
Vice Mayor Jarman?
Nothing to disclose.
Councilman Casto?
Recuse myself. Correct.
Councilmember Coburn?
Same as before. Is that okay?
Yes, that's fine.
Councilman Register?
Same as before.
And Mayor Teddimer?
The same as before. At this time, we will hear the staff's report. Mr. Leonard.
Thank you again. This is the rezoning portion of the request. Again, it's at 206 North Arnold Road. And more specifically, this is a rezoning request to go from R1B, single-family residential, 7,500 square foot lots, to a CL, which is commercial low-intensity zoning designation. The planning board considered this request April 10th, 2024, and recommended denial of this request as well by a vote of 4-3. And for the same issues as mentioned in the previous agenda item.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
At this time, we will hear from the applicant.
Just a reminder that it's on my front yard is a 4-lane highway, and as someone that wants to do business over there, I mean, I understand we can do a home-based business, but no one can live there. I mean, I cannot live there with my 2 daughters. I don't want this for anyone else too. It's not safe for, safety concerns I'm talking about. And that's it. I mean, it's just, I just want you to really help to have a good use of this property.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. This time, we will hear from any affected party who wishes to speak. Please come up and state your name and address for the record.
Christine McLaughlin, 250 Escanaba. In hearing everything, the house on the corner obviously is a bigger concern to me just because I'm right there. And I would obviously prefer it stayed residential. It's the uncertainty in it all. I've lived there since 1986 and love it. It's my home. And I understand a lot of change comes to the beach. That's not the issue, but I can see getting in and out of there being tougher, and if it became something big and they have people pulling in there and parking on the street, that's it. Same thing again. Same, I don't have anything real new to say other than, just consider it all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other affected parties? At this time, we will take public comment. Any public comment?
Nancy Viejo. Across in the green space, what I'm seeing on the slide up there, what is right across the street from that?
On the west side of 79?
North.
The green
Going-
one, that's the hospital.
That's going to be the hospital.
That's the hospital.
Yeah, that's all their
Okay.
property.
Master plan.
Yeah.
So we're talking about 79. I know that right on 79 there, one of the houses is a daycare center. It always has been. It's a little down from the shopping center that's there. So how far is this because my husband's office is in the shopping center at 203. They have the same outlet, I believe, on the road to go in and out of that shopping center. I may be wrong, but from looking at that, it looks like that road,
You are correct.
okay. Yeah. So why, my question is, why would that be a concern for the neighborhood?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. At this time, we will hear any rebuttal by staff, any affected party, or the applicant. Any rebuttal? At this time, we will close the evidentiary portion of the hearing.
And I would ask that, again, the same documents that you've been provided as part of the last hearing be included in the record of this hearing.
Yes.
At this time, we will hear, good with that. At this time, we will hear closing arguments by staff, then the applicant. Staff, any closing arguments?
Mayor and council, just to reiterate, the planning board recommended denial because of the spot zoning, vote 4-3. Staff report was in favor of it for the reasons that I've already indicated, and that's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The applicant, would you like any closing arguments?
Yeah, I have a question that I would just ask, if this was your property, what would you do with that? That's my only question, because it's really a question for me, because we cannot use it at all for any reason. That it's a highway, it's all the properties around it, it's just commercial, and it's a 4-lane highway. So what would you do? I would accept that if we have a very strong reason for that. Thank you.
Thank you. This time, we will move to council discussion. Mr. Davis, could you reiterate your earlier point?
Certainly. Because you have chosen to have this property remain on your future land use map and in your comp plan as single-family residential, a rezoning to commercial would be inconsistent with that comp plan, which is the requirement under the law that you have to do as far as considering a rezoning. It has to be consistent with the comp plan. And so my legal opinion would be that, you are essentially a rezoning at this point would violate the statute.
Okay. Is there any discussion?
No, except for, breaks my heart. I'd love to see all three of them. I think it's the right thing to do. But I'd like to see all three of them come in. And I don't know if I can say that I would be for that, but I am for that. And I think that we can get all three where it's contiguous and work up that corridor.
Yeah.
It would make a lot more sense and be beneficial. So that's where I'm at on it. And definitely feel for the applicant at the same time. But
Yeah.
I'd like to see it done that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I share that opinion.
In regards to property taxes, I think you found out that if they all zone commercial, that potentially they could be charged higher property tax? Or it depends?
It depends. So we did reach out on behalf to clarify some of your internal questions about the effect of a commercial zoning on the other properties. We did reach out we talked to the property appraiser's office about that, and the answer was essentially it could, depending on the use, depending on the changing in the value, but there wasn't a definite answer.
Yeah. I mean, I understand. I drove by there. It's tough, but it just creates this issue where we start to have one and two things. Just for consistency, we need to get them all in my opinion.
So
anything?
Make a motion to approve or deny the and go with the planning board's recommendation to deny the request.
Second.
Ms. Pizzoni?
Vice Mayor Jarman?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Casto
Abstain.
has abstained. Councilmember Coburn?
No.
Councilman Register?
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Teddemer.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Next is Resolution 24135. Mr. Davis, would you read this?
Yep, a resolution of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, authorizing a budget amendment to appropriate additional funds for a part-time administrative support specialist for the City Council and City Clerk.
Mr. Whitman, is there anything to add?
Just got any questions, but this is really creating a part-time position that would assist the five of you up there to help with your scheduling appointments or travel. They'd work directly for the city clerk in her office or the front lobby answering phones in between, but it's to give you some assistance, to give her some relief with day-to-day operations of your emails or scheduling any kind of schoolings out of the area or anything else. But sole supervision would fall back to the city clerk, not the council.
Okay. Is there any public comment on this issue? In terms of council discussion? Oh, go ahead. No. In terms of council discussion, I mean, I know personally it would be very helpful to have someone, Ms. Fazzoni deals with a lot of things, is very busy as a city clerk, and she deals with a number of things, including travel, scheduling, that, takes her away from her city clerk duties. I think it'd be helpful to have an administrative assistant there. I know previously the clerk would do those duties in the city, but, in order to serve the residents more in terms of some of these ceremonial roles, I think would be helpful.
I think this city's grown quite a bit.
Yeah.
And if anyone's taken just a moment to look at Ms. Fazzone work, then you kind of know that she's got a lot on her plate. So
Yeah, definitely.
I totally understand it.
Good opportunity to tell you how much we appreciate you. Thank you. So I'll definitely echo your comments, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Motion approved.
Second.
Ms. Fazzoni, please call roll.
Vice Mayor Jarman.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Casto.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Coburn.
Yes.
Councilman Register.
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Teddemer.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, we've already dealt with 9.
Okay.
We've already dealt with 10. Let's move to next.
Yeah, we're going to make this quick.
Yeah, and now it's now is 11, impact fees. This is.
So I've been talking to staff for about 2-3 months now about this. We haven't changed municipal impact fees, fire, police, library, and Parks and Rec since 2018. I think it's time. I would like to ask for the council's direction to direct staff to go ahead and spin up the professional service of doing the evaluation on our impact fees.
That's fine with me.
I'm good with that.
I think it's important that we do that. You said 2018.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm surprised that hasn't been reviewed since then.
We did the utility ones in
We actually are, we did the utility in 2020, and we're actually reviewing the utility right now as we speak.
So these fees all fixed? Like, so we review them and update them, or is there some way we could index these fees?
Sir, no,
No, okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
There's a statute that heavily regulates how you assess impact fees and how you raise them. You have to get a study done.
Okay.
That shows the nexus between the fee and the development. And you can only do that every 4 years.
Okay.
So right now, you did it, actually, I think it was 2021.
I think that was water and sewer.
Yeah, the water and sewer, yeah. So
This
there's municipal services you can do, water and sewer you can't right now.
Okay.
Because we're still in that 4-year timeline.
Okay.
I love it.
All right.
Great.
All right.
So, yeah.
Clear direction?
Clear direction, I got it.
Yep.
Excellent.
Okay. That's it for the regular agenda, discussion items and action items. Let's go to the city manager report.
Real short, with Memorial Day weekend coming up, I just want to thank all the members that have served in the United States military. And with it being Memorial Day, just if people would take a moment to honor and respect the men and women that gave the ultimate sacrifice in the combat. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. City attorney?
Yes, quickly, for a long time now, the city has had an issue with a business in town called Marco Polo Pizzeria for violation of the city's solicitation ordinance. They have been trespassing on private property and passing out flyers and putting flyers on doors of private residents, condos, hotel units. With the direction from the city manager, our office filed an injunctive complaint against that business to get a court order to require them to comply with our ordinance. And that lawsuit has been filed and served on the defendant. We'll keep you obviously aware of how that lawsuit progresses as it goes. But just wanted to make you aware that we were working on that right now.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. We'll move on to council comments.
Let's start with me.
Okay, let's go. Let's go with Vice Mayor.
Okay, so I thought about this earlier, and I want to bring it up while everyone's here. The TDC has done naming rights for the indoor facility, and I think that's I think it would be a good thing for us to possibly do for the skate park and even possibly for the pickleball park. And that can help offset some of the funds if we can get somebody that wants to have the naming rights on those. So, no, I'm not. I'll save my comments to the next meeting.
Okay.
It was a long meeting. So.
Okay. Councilman Castro?
Nothing from me, Mayor.
Councilman Register?
I'm excited to have a skate park, and I'm excited we moved the RFP up. I think it was extremely exciting to have a passionate base here today for both sides and to see the respect that they have for each other. But what's great about it is we got a lot of residents who want to get outside and do things. So I'm excited that we're going to, as a council, provide that opportunity for those groups of people. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about it for myself. So
Not many times we get a win-win.
Not very many times, but today was one of those, and it's an exciting time for our community and a great thing. And we impacted a lot of people today positively, so it's a great thing.
Yep. Councilmember Coburn?
Yes, just one thing. I'd like to talk about these surtaxes that are starting to pop up on our receipts when we buy stuff at restaurants. I've seen the art, entertainment, and parking fees. I've seen, whatever they can come up with to add a few more percent.
Yeah.
And I get that it's expensive for restaurants to have to change their menu when they need to increase prices, but these taxes need to be clearly posted on their doors, on their hostess stand, on their menus, on their table tents. You know, I don't think businesses really need another law. I think they just need to use good sense and notifying the customer and letting that customer make a choice as to whether they want to pay those fees or whether they want to make sure they have cash or maybe they go somewhere down the road. So I would like to have us send out a letter to the restaurants in our district spelling this out and asking for cooperation. And even more important than that, explain the tax to them. Because I've started questioning employees, even in the grocery store, what is this and what is this? They don't have a clue.
And I think the biggest issue is it's not a tax.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the real issue.
It appears deceptive.
No government entity has anything to do with that tax. It's not a tax with that charge.
Fee.
And so I think for me, that's the biggest thing is it's deceptive. So.
And people out
council's
there, I
working on
say
that.
you have a choice. You know, if you don't want to pay the fee, don't do business there. But know ahead of time. Don't wait until you get your check to see those extra charges. I just had my car serviced and I got an $11 charge for using my credit card. If I'd known that, I'd have gone to the bank first.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The state just opened that up 2-3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Used to be only government entities could charge it.
Terrible.
Councilmember Coburn?
That's all.
That's all? Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. I wanted to thank everyone for the robust discussion about the skate park today. Thank you. We all received very many emails and outreach, and I know everyone here worked hard to do their due diligence there. I wanted to clarify something I had mentioned in a post that I was opposed to the red lanes, and some folks here had mentioned that it seemed like it was indicated I was anti-CRA. I'm not anti-CRA, as long as that's used for infrastructure that makes sense, and we'll work together to get there. In terms of Memorial Day, I reiterate what the city manager says. You know, that it's time to take a moment and honor those who gave the ultimate sacrifice. Thank you, and I'll see you in 3 weeks.
For everyone that's left.
Yep.
Can I ask for one point of clarification? I apologize.
Sure.
Do I have your direction to write the letter that Councilmember Coburn asked for?
I'm all for it. My only question is, I know you're working on some stuff with it. Do we kind of?
No, I mean, I prepared an email that I think I sent to everyone regarding.
I'm good with that.
Regarding the issue,
Yeah.
and I think,
I'm in. Yeah.
as the law stands today.
No, well,
Yeah, I don't want to wait 3 weeks and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Speed of government there. All right. Councilor Adjourn.
Thank you.
I'm not answering you. No more. You're done, Nancy. I'm done. I know. No more questions. You've had like 7 today. Isn't that enough?
No.
Of course.
I forgot about this. Who funds this?
City.
The city. Who books this?
Well, we have sponsorships, so it's like a mix of two.
Right.
Parks and Rec books it.